Cool. Oh,
I'm gonna mute myself real
Okay.
quick. Give me 1
It
second.
says that we're live.
I believe we are.
All right. Okay, I think we're live. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first ever live stream of Kenobi's Corner. Today, I have a lot of very big names in the Star Wars franchise of YouTube. We have Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars, Morgan with the Blue Bounty Hunter, and we have Ty with Just a Star Wars Nerd. If you guys would like to start off and just talk a little bit about your channel before we get into the gist of this live stream, you can do that now.
Morgan, you can go first.
Okay, bet. See, I'm the Blue Bounty Hunter, also known as Morgan or DBBH. I have 14,000 subs, and I make mainly like Star Wars analysis videos talking about stuff. I do shorts, polls, and yeah, I'm just excited to be on here and engage with some other fellow Star Wars YouTubers for sure.
Love it. I'll go next, I guess. I am Mike. That is my name. A guy who loves Star Wars across all the platforms. I'm not too sure how many subscribers I have, but this is quite literally where the fun begins. We're going to be ranking a lot of stuff today. I'm very excited to see where our nice Morgan, Ty, and Ike's heads are at, because I'm sure we're going to have some differing opinions. Ty? I don't think Ty's here right now.
Right, you might still
No,
be
I'm fine. Sorry, I was just trying to set up a few things. Hi, I'm Ty. I'm also known as Just a Star Wars Nerd. My channel, well, as you guessed, I'm a major Star Wars nerd. I cover everything Star Wars related and also do what ifs. And I'm honored to be here.
What's your favorite what if?
Favorite what if? Ooh, probably either what if Mace Windu survived the fall or what if Qui-Gon trained Anakin.
Two great options.
Yeah, the possibilities just always get my mind pumping.
True.
Yeah, those are good ones for sure.
Alrighty, so we've all been introduced. I'm the only one that has not, so I'll say hi, I'm Ike or Kenobi's Corner. I have not been doing this for very long, so this is actually the first long-form video I've ever done on the channel, and I'm glad to have three of my favorite Star Wars YouTubers to do it with. Today we'll be doing two separate tier lists, a movies and shows one, and then every Star Wars character, which obviously there isn't every Star Wars character, but there is a little over 500 of them, so we'll rank those the best that we can. But we're going to start with the movies and shows, so I'm going to now pull up the template that we're going to use for that right now.
Yeah, so how many tier lists do we have in total today?
A total of two.
Two.
This is the first one. Hold on, let me get...
Oh, we're going movies and shows together? Nice. I like that. I like that quite a bit.
Yeah. In one tempo, I don't recall how many you did, but you did the seasons, right, Mike? You
Yeah,
did
I
like
did the
each broke down
individual
into each
seasons
season.
today. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not this. It's all in one. It will be all 7 seasons of Clone Wars in one, 3 seasons of Bad Batch in one, and 4 seasons of Rebels in the other.
I like that.
When it loads, obviously.
When it loads. Chat, it's Ike's birthday today.
Starting to load.
Yeah, happy birthday,
Thanks.
Ike. Y'all are not going to believe this. What if I told you it's actually my birthday today as well?
Are you
Is it
serious?
actually?
I'm actually
Really?
like,
Happy birthday.
I'm actually being real. Thank you. Yeah.
Wait, what?
I'm not even joking, bro.
That
Really?
is-
Oh
that
my
is
God.
dangerous.
January
Wow.
18th. Yeah.
Happy birthday
Yeah.
to you.
Thank
That's
you. Yeah.
wild. Happy birthday to Morgan and Ike in the chat. That's
Wow.
insane.
That
What a
seems like I'm
small
making that
world.
up, but I'm not even like.
What is the chances of that? And what if I told you that it was my birthday? No, I'm kidding.
Such a small world.
It's just everyone's
Yeah,
birthday.
that's such a small world.
For real.
That's insane.
Yeah, everybody's birthday's on January 18th. Okay,
Yeah.
the template's pulled up. The first movie that we have is The Phantom Menace. Do one of you guys want to take that first?
It's up to you guys.
Hey, I would like to talk about it actually.
All right.
Go for it.
So everyone's gonna give me a lot of hate for this, but I actually like the Phantom Menace a lot as a prequels fan. Okay, so it's kind of, I don't know how we're doing this, but like I'd kind of put like all the George Lucas movies like kind of close to the top personally, and as I like the Phantom
So
Menace
S
a lot.
plus will only be for the top 5 of all of Star Wars. So we'll only allow 5 in that top tier, which will be agreed upon by the 4 of us.
Interesting.
So I feel like the Phantom Menace has not only some really interesting action, but it's also like a self-contained story where they got to look at the everything with Naboo and all that stuff. And I just feel like it was more small scale and they could do some interesting things with that. And then I feel like Qui-Gon is a really good character. We established Anakin and his story and kind of showed him how he was like a good person as first when he was a kid. And then I feel like Darth Maul is a really good villain. And yeah, that's kind of what I think. So because y'all gonna really hate me for this, but I'd actually say this is gonna be the biggest hot take of the video, but I'm gonna put this in low S tier myself, maybe A tier.
Honestly, that's
yeah.
I almost agree with you. Not S tiered for me, but it is overhated for sure. Like the prequel trilogy in general is overhated, but the Phantom Menace itself, I mean, the Duel of the Fates alone at the end of the movie makes it so good. Like that fight in particular is one of the best lightsaber duels we have throughout all of Star Wars. We're talking all the shows, all the movies, and that alone is one of the best fights we have. You get young Anakin, of course. Qui-Gon's a great character. Jar Jar, I guess, is annoying, but to me, he's funny. So I don't know. I agree with you. I don't think Phantom Menace should be anywhere close to the bottom of this list. I'd say probably low A though, or maybe mid to high A, but I don't know. I agree with
I think A is good. I think A is probably good.
Ty.
All right. I guess it's up to
I
Can you guys
agree.
hear me?
I think. Hey,
You can hear me, right?
yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, we can hear
Yep,
you.
we can hear you.
All right, perfect. Well, I'm a huge prequel lover, which also means I do love the Attack of the Clones, which we'll get to later. But for me, honestly, I feel like the Phantom Menace is very underrated. Like it brought a whole new era to Star Wars, new characters, new dynamics, and all that. So for me personally, I'm going with an S tier on this. Like it
Wow.
is one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Wow.
Yeah,
I agree
Call
with
me
you that
crazy, but it's good.
it's a great start to a new trilogy because you got characters like Obi-Wan and Anakin, of course, coming back from the originals, but you have a new cast of characters. You're not wrong.
Yeah, like I just love it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with A. I don't think that I can put it as high as S though. I think I can give it high A, mid A maybe.
Come here. You're not in the frame. Come here. Come here. I have a dog right here. Look at this dog. Come here.
Ooh,
Come here.
nice. You should have like a dog cam like on
I
top
know,
of
right?
all bars, like a 5th one for just the dog. Yeah.
She never comes down here to come visit the stream, so you guys are special, I guess.
Nice.
Say hi. No.
So where do we want to put Phantom Menace? Are we gonna do low S or do we agree on high A?
I think high A probably.
I think
feel
high
like
is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I respect the yes, but I say high A.
Nah, for real.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say
The
definitely.
next-
Yeah.
Next movie is
All right.
gonna be Attack of the Clones.
I'll start on Attack of the Clones because just as hot as your take
All right.
saying that the Phantom Menace was as good as it is, I wouldn't say that the Attack of the Clones is S tier. I'm not that crazy, but I will
Shots
say
fired.
I think it's the most overhated Star Wars movie. I know the sequel trilogy gets its hate, and maybe some of that's deserving. I don't know, but Attack of the Clones gets so much hate, being that it's the worst of the prequel trilogy, which I don't know. That's an argument to be had, but I think what it sets up for the lore, it's obviously the beginning of the Clone Wars. It's the beginning of what ends up being a 7-season show and leads into Revenge of the Sith. But talk about lightsaber duels. Dooku is probably a top 10 character for me. And his duel versus Yoda at the end, his duel versus Anakin and Obi-Wan at the end, it's extremely underrated. And the Battle of Geonosis, obviously, you got Jango Fett's head getting chopped off and stuff like that. a lot of people just look at that movie and see a love scene or a love movie between Padme and Anakin, but it's a lot more than that. So for me, I'd say it's below Phantom Menace, but I'd honestly put it in high B, maybe even in that A range too.
I volunteer to go next.
Tell you.
I think that those are some very good points indeed. I would agree. I'd say low A tier personally, and I think Attack of the Clones. I don't really like the romance stuff that much. I think George Lucas tried to go more like sort of Shakespearean, like old style romance, and I think that was cool, but kind of doesn't work with modern audiences. However, I think Attack of the Clones is some of the best action in the franchise, and seeing the Jedi in their prime, seeing Anakin like when his mother died, that whole part of the movie, seeing the birth of Vader, all that stuff is like gold. So yeah, I think A tier.
Kills the women and the children too.
Well, can't forget that.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'll go next for this. Attack of the Clones, definitely overhated in my opinion. I loved it. Maybe I was just an easily influenced kid, but I loved the action scenes.
I agree.
Yeah, for like you said, the Count Dooku is one of my favorite characters. I feel like he has such a unique story, you know, very different compared to everybody else we've seen, especially compared to the other Sith.
Yeah, because he's not really one.
Exactly, yeah. I don't believe he is a Sith. I think he definitely has their aspects.
Yeah,
but
well, he just sees the flaws in the Jedi, so he goes over to the yeah. Also, his lightsaber is pretty badass too. So
true on that.
Oh, Dooku's lightsaber is amazing.
You also got to remember too, when you're watching the Phantom Menace versus Attack of the Clones, it's only 3 years later, but the CGI upgrade from that first movie to the second movie is insane. Like you look at Coruscant in specifically in the Phantom Menace, it kind of looks kind of crappy because the CGI wasn't there. It's 1999, but then once it gets to the Attack of the Clones, the upgrade is like insane.
Yeah, I believe that all your guys' points are extremely fair on this movie. But even with all that being said, I do think Attack of the Clones is a C tier level movie. I think there's a few things that they do in that movie that are excusable. I gotta
disagree with you.
No, we might have to ban you from the stream.
Well, what is inexcusable in Attack of the Clones?
It's
I feel like the CGI that is used is actually worse in this movie than it is during the Phantom Menace. I think that the clone troopers look really fake. I am not a
go
fan
back and
of
watch this movie.
I don't like the romance. I just watched it just a few days ago.
But you said the Phantom Menace's CGI is better. It's not even close.
I think it looks a lot better.
I'll give it
to
you.
But I'll be willing to put it in B tier if you guys are willing to die on that hill. I'll put it in B tier if you guys are willing to.
I'm thinking we all said A tier. So
I think I remember an A tier.
We could compromise with S tier. S plus.
I'm down for S.
I am not down.
S plus.
I'm not compromising with
S
you know
plus.
Yeah, S plus.
No,
S plus.
I'll give you guys your A tier.
We have 5 spots. One is.
Yeah, S plus all the way. I'm saying it.
I'll give it a low A tier. Low A tier.
Yeah.
All right.
By the end, it'll be like the last thing on the end.
It's up to you guys. I think that this one will be the quickest one of the list.
I don't know if this is any. I don't know if I'll see any argument from this, but it's our first S plus of the day. I mean,
definitely D tier.
I no disagreeing here.
Revenge of the Sith, and I said this on my live stream earlier, and that's why I think somebody, WUV grad said Mike's time to shine up here next. Revenge of the Sith has always been my favorite Star Wars movie because from start to finish, from the opening scene to the final scene, it is jam-packed action. I mean, the opening scene is Coruscant, outside Coruscant, saving Palpatine. It's this awesome space fight. And then, of course, the final scene is Obi-Wan versus Anakin and Palpatine versus Yoda. And it just gets better and better and better as the movie goes on. It's the fall of Anakin, the rise of the Empire, Order 66. I mean, there's no flaw in this movie. And from start to finish, every single frame is just banger.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah, I have nothing more to add on that. Really,
but then
S plus.
Well, there is one thing I would like to add on to it, making it like it's even better than we thought. I will rewatch shit like every other week, and every time I watch it, I always find new details that I would never know otherwise.
It is the most rewatchable. I agree
Oh,
with that.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Because of the action. It's just all the time.
Yeah, it really is one of the best movies out there.
Yeah, so for me, I agree with everything, and I'm not going to add too much more because I feel like you said most of the important stuff. But Revenge of the Sith is my favorite movie of all time, so I think that might show you where I would put it. But yeah,
Before we go to the next one, you want to switch Morgan with Ty just because Ty's not showing his face and Morgan is?
thank you for
Oh,
pointing that
yeah,
out. I
yeah.
wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, probably that's a good idea.
Just because the chat is blocking him, you know?
Yeah.
Love the
Yeah,
neon
yeah,
sign.
I see
Neon
what
sign. Thanks. It says live because we're live.
Yo, I can just like barely get over the chat a little bit if I do this.
No, you can keep Ty in there. I just meant like switch. Oh, there
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
take me out of the stream, guys. It's okay. I don't know what you want.
go.
I'll just
All
sit
right,
and watch.
there we go.
Cool. Perfect.
Sorry, Ty, you're
Hmm.
kind of covered.
Nah, you're all good. I understand.
We
No,
don't
I
see
just
you.
need to get like a piece of
Yeah, we-
paper with his channel and just like hold it here, like a little
Yeah,
arrow.
I'm trying to figure out how to go live on my channel, but I got no freaking clue how to host anything. So I'm not.
It
I
is-
want to. I can't.
It is a difficult thing.
Yeah.
for
How
sure.
do you go live?
I do it on Streamlabs instead of
Stream-
StreamYards, but Streamlabs is only like yourself. You can't stream with multiple people, so it's a little different.
I
I've
see.
done
Okay.
StreamYards before, but yeah,
Okay.
they're both good.
Yeah, I'll definitely
All right.
try them in the future.
If no one has an issue, I would love to introduce this next movie.
Go for it.
All right. Well, for me personally, Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars movie. I love the action. It later in the tier list you'll see, but Andor is one of my favorite shows as well, and I think that they work really well with each other. And I feel like Rogue One, the action is really good, but the highlight for me was the Darth Vader hallway scene. I was really young when I first watched this movie, and I thought that that was one of the coolest things that I had ever saw in a movie.
100%. I agree. Yeah. No doubt. S
S
plus.
plus Rogue One.
Interesting. What do you have to say, Mike, on their there?
Okay, here's my take on Rogue One. It's by far the best Disney movie they've made to date. Like Ike was just saying, the action is incredible. Without it, Andor is still good, obviously, but it's gonna make what Andor season 1 and 2 does like something really, really special, because the end of it is Rogue One, and Rogue One is this just masterpiece. It's not like Revenge of the Sith where it's like start to finish action like craziness. It has to introduce all these new characters, and it introduces a brand new cast of characters and kills them off by the end. Spoiler alert.
No,
Uh,
you ruined the movie for me. No.
Yeah, no. But like you said, the Vader hallway scene is the only time you see a lightsaber in that movie, and it's incredible. You got Krennic, you got Vader, you got Tarkin, you got it all. You got all the bad guys you could ask for. But it's the heroes that they set up in that movie just to kill them off. But even still, just to kill them off, they still set up these incredible characters that are so good that they had to go back and make an entire 2-season, 24-episode show about them because they're that good. Like Rogue One is just, it's a masterpiece. And it's crazy that it's a masterpiece because of all the issues that it had going through the filming of it. Like it had so many issues all the way up until its release, and it was still just a masterpiece.
Yo, yeah. Agree 100%.
I feel like Morgan's about to say something crazy right now. So
Whoa,
I'm waiting for-
whoa, whoa.
Oh,
Hey,
let's-
hold up, hold
Yeah,
up. So,
I
like,
feel that. Yeah.
obviously, it's F tier. No, I'm just kidding. So,
Wow.
whoa,
Wow.
hold on.
Wow.
No. So I'd say, so Rogue One is just about my favorite Star Wars movie. I like The Last Jedi a little bit for specific reasons.
I
That
can't wait
doesn't
to get to
mean
that.
I like the sequels.
Oh, I cannot wait for
Right.
this.
You like the sequels?
No, I said I don't.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
there's things I like about that movie specifically. Anyway, we'll get to that later. Right.
Yes.
Rogue One to me is like honestly an A tier. It's not quite an
A
S for me,
tier?
but
Really?
I do think it is a great movie. I think the way that they, killed off all the characters, had great drama, and then obviously Darth Vader's amazing, and I just think it is overall a really well-made movie. But to me, it's not like quite S tier, but I will say every time I watch it, it does grow on me a little bit more and more. So maybe one day I would have it that high, but for me, it's like a low A tier, mid A tier, in that sort of range.
Okay, I will grant you, because we're only giving 5 spots to S plus, that I will give you that Rogue One could be an S tier movie. But I
I'll
cannot,
give
I
it to you.
cannot, I cannot settle for A.
Yeah, no, S
S
tier. I feel like S tier is good.
Is that good with you, Ty? S tier.
Honestly, I will settle for that because there are some other shows and movies that I personally believe belong on S plus tier. So for now, I'll let this slide. So yeah, I say S is a pretty good tier for this.
We only have 4 more spots on S plus, so you got to use them wisely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So S tier seems fair for it, even though it is my favorite movie. I am willing to grant that because I do have some other projects I would be more amped to put into the S plus tier.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is Solo. Does one of you guys want to take Solo?
I'll go
No,
last.
I know
on
that
this
there are
one.
people in the chat asking where Solo was.
You might as well
guess-
skip it.
No, skip it. Nah. I guess I'll take a swing at this one. My reaction on it is actually much different than a majority of other people. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I would even go as far as to say this is like a high-end B tier. Like, I liked the movie. I thought it was really good. Nowhere near a level of prequels, but for me, just watching it, I was like, wow, this is fun. That's like the word I would describe it. It's fun. However, I will say that ending with Darth Maul wasted potential. It could have been so much better.
Morgan.
I like Solo. For me, it's the exact opposite of Rogue One, where Rogue One always grows on me, and Solo, for some reason, every time I watch it, I don't like it quite as much. With that said, though, I think it's a good movie. It's one of the better Disney ones, and I agree with what Ty said. And I think it has good characters. It's kind of fun, but it's not too like impactful, and there's nothing that I found very deep in there, unlike something like Rogue One or Revenge of the Sith. So I'd say B tier. It's probably where I'd put it, like high B tier, personally.
Yeah. So with Solo, it's the only ever Star Wars movie that lost money. If you believe what they say, I mean, it's sort of the reason that they've stopped making those kind of movies, because it's the last spin-off movie before they stopped making them, and then they went to Disney Plus. It's also the last time they tried to deepfake one of the original trio. I mean, recast one of the original trio. Now they only deepfake them with Luke and Leia, and Luke again, and Leia again, and Luke again. But so you see a lot of hate thrown towards Solo, but I agree with you guys. I think it's a solid movie. It's not near any like prequel movie or original trilogy movie or anything like that, but it is a fun watch. Like Ty said, it's just fun. Like, you sit down and you watch it, you're not going to sit there and complain the whole time. You're going to have fun. It's a fun adventure. It's almost, to me, like Skeleton Crew. And I know we'll get to Skeleton Crew way later, but it's just a fun adventure. It's a fun adventure. And for that, I'd give you high B's. High B, yeah, I'd be right in there too.
You guys don't have to argue high B. That was exactly where I was going to put it. I thought I'd have to fight for that, but
No, yeah, I think Solo gets overhated. So I feel like people are like, "Oh, I like Solo," and they're like,
Yeah.
"That's a hot take," but I don't think it really is.
no, I totally agree. We're now going to move into the original trilogy, which we're going to start with A New Hope. I'll start this one off because I feel like I have very few things to say about it. I feel like plus movie, I feel like it started the franchise off, and I feel like it's overhated because like some of the popular critiques of the movie I've heard is that the lightsaber duel looks dull and it doesn't look as cool as other ones, or Luke Skywalker's too whiny, or all of these things that people will say about the movie. But in the end, it was what started what we know as Star Wars. And I feel like if we have a tier list and A New Hope isn't an S plus, I don't know what we're doing.
No, that's real. That's real. I agree with everything that you said, Ike. I just rewatched this movie because I've been rewatching the originals over like winter break for me. And like after just rewatching A New Hope, I was like really surprised by how basically everything in the whole movie just feels like it's like perfect. It's like everything, it's so, I don't know, complex, and like everything just works in the movie like exactly the way it should, I feel like. It's just one of those movies that worked out really well when all the pieces kind of came together. So yeah, I think A New Hope is kind of a masterpiece. For me, like, because what I said earlier, I kind of consider all the George Lucas movies like kind of A tier, S tier for me. For me, A New Hope, I've always had it as my least favorite of those six, just because I think it is the most basic. But I also don't have any real problems with it. It just means I like the other ones because I feel like the other five of those original six, I don't know, they all did things that I found a little more interesting. But honestly, I'm completely fine S tier, S plus, whatever y'all want to do. Like that works for me.
Yeah. A New Hope, it can't be stated enough, obviously, how important it is. It's the beginning of all this. It's if the only reason we're here, the only reason that any of this exists, the only reason that this happened at all. So its significance in that facet is incredible. As a movie itself, I kind of agree with Morgan. It's not the best of the best. It's definitely up there, obviously. It's top 4 or 5 for me, personally. But like we mentioned before, we have only 4 more S plus tier movies, or shows even too. We got to talk about the shows as well. So it's kind of on that borderline for me. It would probably be number 5 if I was to just give those 5. But it's a good movie from start to finish. But George Lucas kind of only thought he was going to be making one movie. That's why it has an ending. It has a medal ceremony. It has all that stuff. It's sort of its one full story by itself. So it's definitely S tier. But is it S plus? Got the
Ooh.
tie.
All right. Like you guys say, it's a good movie. Definitely not the best of the best. I like it. It's not a preferred movie of mine though, but I definitely will watch this movie. I love it. I think it's A tier for sure. I want to go as far as to rank it S tier. From a story-wise perspective, it definitely looked as if it was meant to be a standalone film if you were to just watch that movie alone. So there were definitely aspects of it that I thought were okay, but could have been done a little differently. So overall, though, I liked the movie. I thought it was good. The lightsaber fight definitely could have been better, but for the time it was in, it was revolutionary.
Oh
I
yeah, the
like
whole movie was. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like the characters, the fight scenes. The Battle of Yavin was definitely one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. I'd give it a solid S tier. Definitely good.
I would say I mean, I like Rogue One more than I like A New Hope, but I wouldn't argue with you guys if you wanted to put it higher than that. Also, I want to point out that 50 Thunder said in the chat, A New Hope is the top of the list because it made my childhood. People who've seen that movie in theaters when it first came out, it's a completely different thing. Like sitting here, I wasn't obviously alive when that happened, so I don't know that experience. People who went to go see it in the theaters 10, 20, 30 times because it's the only place you can see it, and there's a line down the street, like that's an experience. It's an experience that I kind of felt with not the New Hope, The Force Awakens in 2015, but it's something that we haven't been able to feel for like 6-7 years now because there hasn't been a Star Wars movie.
No, that's so real. Like that experience must have been crazy. Like seeing the Star Destroyer go across this screen
Yeah.
for the first time when never seen anything like that. Like that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with what you're saying there on that. Yeah.
Yeah, because now we have so many movies like Avatar or like just any sort of action movie that has crazy CGI, the MCU movies. Like you go to the movies and you expect greatness. When they went to see that Star Wars movie, really the only movies before that were really good were like story-driven movies. They weren't actiony, they weren't like special effects wise. Like the best you had before that was 2001: A Space Odyssey, and it's in slow motion,
Yeah.
like the whole movie. So Star Wars is like, and you're like, what the hell? Like that's something that you've never seen before.
No, true. We should put 2001: A Space Odyssey on this tier list. Thinking about
Well, if we put that on there, might as well put Spaceballs too.
that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That
Okay,
movie
so what are we
was
thinking? We
ridiculous.
thinking S tier or
I'm thinking S tier.
I'm thinking S tier.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't think I can put it above Rogue One because I would have had Rogue One in S plus.
Ooh.
Okay, I can settle for that.
All
I'll
right,
settle
I can
for it.
settle.
Ooh, Empire. Nice.
Do we
All
really
right,
even need to
sounds like
talk
you-
about this one?
All right, we do for a reason. I think it's S plus without a doubt. But is it
Well,
better
look,
than Revenge of the Sith?
Nah,
Oh,
no.
No,
I say no
don't
too.
think
I
it
say
is.
no. I say no.
I might disagree with you on this for particular aspects. I love Revenge of the Sith. It's my favorite movie. But The Empire Strikes Back, for me, nothing can top that movie besides Revenge of the Sith. It
there you
by
go.
far had the biggest plot twist of ever. That
True.
being Luke Skywalker's father, and Yoda is like a drug addict. Like those were the best things. So honestly, I definitely say S plus because when I'm looking at the other movies and shows, and nothing quite compares to it. Like Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Like, what's it called? The Empire Strikes Back is phenomenal for its time, and even now, it's kind of you can't compare with really anything else.
In the step up in the lightsaber duels, like you were talking about, A New Hope's lightsaber duels not really being that great. Its step up in the lightsaber duels was crazy. Like the Vader versus Luke in Empire is a great lightsaber duel. Like actually really really good. And I think we're coming to the same conclusion here. I don't think it's better than Revenge of the Sith, but I think the people who will say that it is are people who were absolutely shocked when they were in the theaters and heard that Luke's dad is this crazy bad guy that stands before him. So I didn't get to experience that. Like when I watched Empire Strikes Back for the first time, I already knew that. I already knew. So I didn't get to experience that crazy twist. People who saw it for the first time in theaters, would probably put it better above Revenge of the Sith, and I don't blame them. Like I would too if that was the case. But to me, Revenge of the Sith is a better movie.
I completely agree. I think that it is S plus, but I would put it below Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
So we're all in agreement. S plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, S
Oh,
plus.
What?
I'm gonna
Yes,
skip you, my
S
bad. I'm so
plus.
sorry.
Second best Star Wars movie. Just gonna say, the duel is great. I think everything on Hoth, the opening's amazing. Yoda's teachings are really good. And I actually remember when I watched this, I was like 3 or 4 or so, and I never saw the prequels. I saw the originals, then we watched the prequels. So
There you go.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what I thought of it when I was 4. Can't really
Yeah.
go back that far.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that twist was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So S plus.
I'd say S plus. Yeah.
Now we only have 3 more spots there. Just letting you know.
Yeah, we need to think
Ooh,
about
I already
shows
know
too.
in my mind what I'm gonna choose. I already know it.
I got an idea, but I'm very interested to see where we're at.
Wait, hold up! I just realized we're missing a movie on here.
Which
What?
one?
The holiday special.
Oh no.
Guys,
dude,
where's the
that's
holiday
plus,
special? We
plus.
need it.
That was intentionally left off the list.
Yeah, and the
Wow.
Ewok movie.
Now,
2
call
Ewok
me
movies,
crazy,
actually.
but
Mm.
it's not. It doesn't deserve to be that hated. It's not good. It sucks completely, but it's not bad.
It doesn't even exist according to George Lucas.
Yes, but we get to meet Chewbacca's
Yeah.
family.
Yeah, and Boba Fett for the first time too.
Exactly. Like, call me a lunatic, but
You're a
honestly,
lunatic.
S.
moving
Wow. Okay. I was just gonna say S plus tier.
No, that's valid. That's valid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, we need a new tier just for that one at the top.
Yes.
Yeah, just put holiday special.
Yes,
Above it.
exactly.
I would like to
Holiday
point out-
special.
50 Thunderer makes a good point that Empire also features the man that had to run with the ice cream maker on Bespin.
Very true. We cannot
It-
forget him.
And you
And
can't
now
forget he had to run with his ice cream maker.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
become an
I hope he
actual
got to
thing now.
safety. Wonder what
The real
actually-
question is, do you guys know what that character's name is?
Wilro
you?
Kid.
Oh, well, Well, Ike knows, so it doesn't really matter if I do, right?
Wait, what did I?
I was
what
actually
did I
about to
I
say
didn't,
it. I just
I
testing you
didn't,
out. Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, what's its name? What's his
Yeah.
name?
What's his name? What's his name?
The character's name is Wilro Hood.
Oh wait, I
Yep.
remember that now. Actually, wait, hold up. I
Sounds
actually remember that. Wilbur.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember reading that in the book somewhere.
Yep, that's the iconic man with the ice cream maker. He'll also be on the next tier list.
Oh,
Oh,
he is?
great.
S
Nice.
plus tier. S plus.
Yeah. S.
That's plus.
Guys, you
Okay.
can't call me crazy, but S plus tier.
No, that's very valid. I would go with that too.
He has the most exploration of any character in all of Star Wars. Just that 30-second scene makes him better than everybody else.
Oh yeah, just like Rick
Yeah,
the Door
true.
Technician. We all can agree he was the
Rick.
strongest character.
I killed him pretty easy in Jedi Survivor, actually.
You must have been cheating then. He took me hours to even get a single hit on him. Then I found out my controller was disconnected. But you know, it was the thought of it that counted.
Yeah, I actually thought that guy was gonna be a big boss, and then he just was like there for 1 second. I
I
was
know.
very confused.
Well, they
Yeah,
actually
but it was
they put him
death.
they put him after like this huge wave too, so you had like no health
Yeah.
and you hadn't gotten to a checkpoint yet, and you were like, "Oh my god, who is this?" And then it was like the easiest.
Uh,
Dude,
Okay, but Return of the Jedi,
yeah, Return to the
Yeah.
Jedi.
the Ewoks. Let's hear it.
Ewoks, automatic D tier. No, I'm kidding.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh!
I'm gonna
Wow.
enrage so many Star Wars fans with that. No, I'm kidding. I love Return of the Jedi.
That's it.
okay. I guess I'll go. Who? Yeah. I feel like it is. I mean, it's my fourth favorite of the George Lucas ones. I actually like Phantom Menace better, but that might just be nostalgia. Hard to say.
Dang.
Anyway, Return of the Jedi. I think we could go S or S plus, depending on what y'all are thinking. I actually really like the beginning on Jabba's palace and stuff. I just think it's a really exciting section. I love seeing all the aliens and stuff. A lot of people kind of move past that part and just look at the end, but I actually like that part a good bit too. Obviously, the Anakin's redemption is huge. Luke saving him. The story is great. The Battle of Endor. And yeah, Endor. Ewoks. I don't love the Ewoks. And I think that part of the movie is a little bit slower. But at the same time, I don't think it really drags it down that much. And I don't even really notice it too much. And yeah, the Emperor is great as well. It has a lot of great stuff. And it's like the conclusion of the first 6 movies, like that main story of Anakin, the chosen one. So it's like, it just hits all those beats really good, I feel like. Yeah.
It is the perfect ending to the 6-episode arc of Anakin's the tragedy of Darth Vader. I don't have it for me higher than Empire, obviously, or A New Hope. I feel like it is A New Hope to an extent. I mean, it's the second Death Star, but it's the final battle between Vader versus Luke. It's Luke. It's Vader's redemption. It's all that stuff. I do like the Ewoks more than most people do. I kind of watched those movies when I was a kid, so I like the Ewoks. I don't know what it is, but to me, I don't know what it is, but it's just not as high as A New Hope. I don't know why. I feel like A New Hope is more nostalgic for some reason. It's like the OG, and Return of the Jedi is not obviously a carbon copy of the movie, but it does do similar things. It is a Death Star number 2. So I'd still say S tier, but I don't know if I can go S plus on this one.
Guess that leaves it up to me then.
I agree. I think.
Oh shoot, sorry, you go first.
No, go ahead, Ty. I'll end on this one.
Okay. I liked it. I thought Return of the Jedi was definitely good. I gotta agree with you though, Mike. I don't personally think it's as good as Return or A New Hope. I don't think it's as good as it.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it's better than the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones.
Yes, I agree with that.
So the way I'm looking at it from like a story point of view, and story wise, it is very, very strong.
And you even got the chat is pretty on board with Return of the Jedi too. A lot of People saying S plus.
Ooh. So let's disappoint the chat. I say give it a B.
What?
I say-
no.
drama,
I
guys.
say S, but below A New Hope. But that's just
I
me.
agree.
I,
Here
S
for
below
Return of the
a New
Jedi.
I'd say that's probably a good choice. It's not as good as A New Hope, but definitely it's better than The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones.
yes, it deserves S tier for sure.
I agree. Below A New Hope, but S tier for sure.
There you go.
Ooh, we're gonna have some fun with the next three.
Oh,
Who wants to introduce the first one?
I'll start with The Force Awakens actually, because I got a I guess bold take for The Force Awakens. I understand that it's the same exact argument I made for not liking Return of the Jedi as much as A New Hope, but it's a very similar movie to A New Hope. And putting that, I guess, to the side, because it's the new Empire, the First Order, it's the new Death Star, the Starkiller Base, it's the new Vader, it's Kylo Ren, it's all that stuff. It's a kid from a desert planet, Rey, Luke. I get that. However, The Force Awakens gets overlooked and overhated because of the next two movies. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about The Last Jedi. I heard earlier that Morgan likes it, and we'll get to it because there's
oh
some
my gosh,
aspects
you're
of the.
psycho.
Okay.
Uh,
To me, The Force Awakens does so much right in the world of Star Wars and sets up the trilogy on a great spot. You got Snoke, who's this badass, and people were speculating for years, 2 years, on who it would be. Come to find out, he gets chopped in half and he was nobody, but that's okay. But it's what The Force Awakens set up. We're just talking Force Awakens alone, not the other two movies yet. So it sets up Snoke perfectly. It sets up Rey as the new hero perfectly. It sets up Finn as a turned stormtrooper perfectly. It sets up Kylo Ren as the grandchild of Vader and Han and Leia's kid, who somehow split up Han and Leia and also destroyed Luke's Jedi Temple. It also caused Luke to go into hiding. Luke's in hiding. Why is he in hiding? I don't know. It sets up all those questions perfectly. It's the execution on the back half that kind of ruins it for me. But The Force Awakens, to me, is a great setup. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's better than any of the original trilogy movies or Revenge of the Sith or Rogue One. But is it better than Attack of the Clones?
Ooh.
I don't know. I won't give you that, but I will put it in the A tier.
I would like to take this next if that's okay, because I thought when you said that you might have had a spicy opinion for this movie, Mike, that you were going to do what I thought you were and put it at A. And I completely agree. I think that The Force Awakens is the best of the sequel trilogy, but we'll get into that with the next two movies. But I think that this is A New Hope, but with new characters and, dare I say, better action. I think I like the action better in this movie. And I think it is also the best film for the Millennium Falcon.
That's a good one, too. Chewie
So
were
I
home.
think low A, but I'd be willing to put it above Attack of the Clones.
Here's the thing. We're going to argue about the sequel trilogy all day long, and people do till the end of time. But because it's made from 2015 to 2019, the CGI, the action, the effects, they're all incredible. So the fight scenes in these movies, whether you like the story or not, are so cool. So like the battle, is it even called the Battle of Starkiller Base? I don't even know. But the battle at the end at Starkiller Base is awesome. The X-Wings flying in, and of course the ground battle, the lightsaber duel between Rey and Kylo, even though, you know. I got a question for you guys specifically regarding The Force Awakens, because it's bugged me for quite some time. I think, and we'll get to it with The Rise of Skywalker, but somehow Palpatine returned. I think that would have worked in the sequel trilogy. Palpatine coming back could have worked if it was planned from the beginning. And now in The Force Awakens, Rey, when she's fighting Kylo, with no training, by the way, and the explanation is that she's a Palpatine, while she's fighting him, attacks him like Palpatine, holds the lightsaber like this and charges at him like that. I guess you can't really tell because I'm sitting down, but it's very Palpatine-esque. So is it possible that either on purpose or by accident, they actually planned her to be like J.J. Abrams does direct the last movie and the first movie? Do you think he had that in mind, doing that? It was just a mistake. It just was happenstance.
yeah. It was just a mistake, man. Just a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take.
Now I know what you're talking about though in the scene because she like charges at him like
Yeah.
that. Anyway, for me personally, I don't think we could disrespect Attack of the Clones, which, mind you, has Kit Fisto in it. Okay,
Oh,
The Force Awakens
love that
doesn't
man.
have Kit
I
Fisto
love him.
like that. And personally, The Force Awakens to me is just like, it's just a New Hope. I like Disney, so I'd actually put it in F tier. But that's not to say that's not to
Oh,
say
wow.
it's like a bad movie. It's just like I don't like it as a Star Wars movie personally. But that's just my take. So don't let
Also,
it.
there's no, I
yeah.
get it. Also, there's the aspect of Han Solo dying, and a lot of people really, really loved Han Solo, and to see him die that way wasn't probably the best way to go out.
No, that's low key my favorite scene in the movie. But
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
other than that,
Wow.
yeah, I just think the drama there was really good. Like it was like
I agree. I think honestly, that scene, people don't like it because they see Han Solo die. Nobody wants to see Han Solo die.
Yeah.
But the purpose it serves is actually really great because it's not Kylo killing Han. It's Han guiding him to kill him because he's trying to keep him from the dark side. It's a cool scene. I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, even when I first watched the Force Awakens, I was not that big of a fan of it. Sure, it was a visual spectacle, no doubt in my mind. It was visually gorgeous and stunning, but it just seemed like a copy and paste of A New Hope. We have an orphan kid with magical space abilities having to go on an adventure where they blow up a planet destroying weapon. The only difference is there's no iconic cantina scene. So
Maz
for
Kanata's
me,
castle.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's not as good. It's not as
Yeah,
good.
we need
No,
Maz
no,
in
you're
his
right. You're right.
band. So I also didn't like it because I did not. Their only characters I really liked were Finn and Kylo Ren. I loved Finn. He still is one a character I desperately feel like he needs expansion on. And Kylo Ren, I feel like he had so much wasted potential. This is the grandson of Darth Vader of all people. He should have been the coolest character, but they kind of screwed him up in later movies, which we will get to. And like you were saying, Mike, Snoke is so cool. He had the potential of being like the next Palpatine.
Yeah.
I'm just so mad they didn't explore on him more and just instead of just saying, "Oh yeah, he's a failed clone of Palpatine." It's like, really? That's the best you got?
Would it have been cool if he was Mace Windu?
Uh,
Would it have worked?
no, definitely not. To me, there's no feasible way it could be Mace Windu.
Okay.
But I
Just-
see where
just
you're coming
wondering.
from. I've seen the theories.
Yeah. I'm just wondering. Well, what if it was Plagueis? Would that have worked?
It depends on the
Ooh.
context you're using it in. If we're
Well,
going off the
Let's say it's like Plagueis, but it's not like resurrected Plagueis. Like Plagueis just survived because Plagueis never actually has like a canon death or anything like that. So what if it was just Plagueis who was just watching the events of his apprentice, who, by the way, we could even tell the story of how Palpatine thought he killed Plagueis, but he didn't actually kill Plagueis, and he left him with all those scars that he has, but he thought he died. He didn't die, and then Plagueis was healing and just watching over the original trilogy, watching over his apprentice do his thing. And then as soon as his apprentice failed, he swooped in with the First Order, took over the galaxy. Would that not be awesome?
Okay, I totally see your point there, and I did not think about that. That you do bring up a lot of good points there. If they did go in that direction, that would definitely change my opinions on the sequels. But I just the way they took Snoke in how they kind of like, is he this, is he that, and kind of did nothing with it. Same with
Yeah.
Rey. It really takes me out of the immersion of Star Wars. Because
I
like
get
when I watch Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith, for example, I'm fully immersed in it. Like I'm fully committed to what's going on with Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Compared to where the sequels, I'm like, wait, but I thought this was this and he was that. I know we're talking about purely The Force Awakens, but even so, it's like with Rey, she doesn't know how to use a lightsaber yet can beat Kylo Ren with it. That always bugged me.
Well, that's the explanation is she's a Palpatine.
Yeah, but that's kind of like not a good explanation. It's kind of like it feeling shoehorned in.
Well, I will say that it is a good explanation if it was done correctly.
Yeah,
Like
but
it
that's
wasn't the plan. It wasn't the plan from the beginning.
yeah, but it's kind of like saying just because you're related to someone, like I could be related to Eddie Hall, that doesn't mean I'm going to be the strongest person on earth.
That's true, but Luke was the Anakin.
That is very true. But when you're looking at it for Luke and Anakin, Anakin was the chosen one. He was destined to bring balance to the Force. When he fell, the Force, in my opinion, the Force reworked it into Luke, where he was destined to redeem his father. With Rey, it's kind of like, really? Just because she's related doesn't mean she automatically has to be really good. Luke, like we saw, he was nobody. He failed a lot. He lost his hand, for goodness sake. Same with Anakin. Anakin lost everything.
I agree to an extent. I think in Star Wars, being related to somebody doesn't make you powerful. But the Anakin and Luke scenario, Anakin being the chosen one, I'm interested to hear you guys' take on this. The chosen one thing in Star Wars is I don't even know. Anakin being the chosen one, bringing balance to the Force. You could look at it as a joke and say he brought balance because he killed all the Jedi to bring balance between the Jedi and the Sith. Or you could actually look at it as what it is. He's supposed to bring balance. But that means the prophecy was a lie or it was wrong. Because he's not. He turns to the dark side like he's not the chosen one. Maybe he could have. And then you got to look at it from the other aspect of the Mortis arc from the Clone Wars. The real chosen one prophecy was for him to take the role as the father of the balance of the Force. So the chosen one prophecy is not really sort of, it's almost just like something that the Jedi wanted to believe in that didn't actually exist.
Nah, okay, so I see what you're saying. Personally, in my view on it is, I mean, you call it a joke, which is fair, but I feel like logically it makes sense, right? I feel like Anakin was the chosen one because he did destroy all the Jedi. So there was only, Obi-Wan, Hermit, and Yoda, who was completely off from everyone else.
Yes.
So he destroyed all the Jedi, and the light side was brought down. And then, with the help of his son Luke, he turned back to the light and destroyed all the Sith. He destroyed Darth Vader when he turned back to Anakin, and he destroyed Darth Sidious. And then the only person that was left was Luke. So if you think about it, I mean, he destroyed all the Jedi and destroyed all the Sith. So then that technically would be balance, right?
I will counter
I don't
that.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but I'll counter that because you said it's Luke, it's Yoda on Dagobah and Obi-Wan on Tatooine, and then it's Vader and Sidious. That's 2v2. But it's also Cal Kestis. It's also Ahsoka, Kanan Jarrus, Baylan Skoll, but I guess the list goes on and on. Asajj Ventress, like whatever, all these survivors of Order 66. And then you look at the dark side, and you got the Inquisitors, the Grand Master, the Grand Inquisitor, the Grand Inquisitor, the first, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever. So yes, it's balanced, but it's not really. And then, like I said, the Mortis God arc. Well, what's that all about? If the living embodiments of the Force are telling you that the real chosen one prophecy is for him to become the father, well, then doesn't that mean that's the real chosen one prophecy? And when he becomes the chosen one, and Qui-Gon's like, I think he's the chosen one. He's supposed to bring balance to the Force. The Jedi were like, are we not already ruling over the galaxy? Like, there's no real balance he needs to bring, right?
Yeah,
That is a really good point.
And
that is interesting.
Darth Maul in Star Wars Rebels says to Obi-Wan while he's dying, is he the chosen one? Referring to Luke Skywalker.
Okay, that was
Not
just
Anakin.
stupid, bro. That was just dumb, bro.
No.
I gotta
That is not
disagree with you
stupid.
on
That is
that,
facts.
Morgan.
That is facts.
That was a beautiful scene.
No, great
He
scene.
is the
But
chosen
that
one.
line is wrong, bro. It doesn't make sense.
Is it though?
Is it
Because
though?
when we're looking at it
Is.
from when we're
He's
looking
the
at it from
child of the chosen one.
exactly,
Is that not the same? The chosen one's gone. Anakin's gone.
or,
I am
Yeah.
what remains.
Yeah.
or we could look at it from an alternative point of view. If we're looking at that scene alone, at that time, Obi-Wan probably thinks that Anakin isn't the chosen one anymore. He thinks that it's Luke. Because
And
to
so
Obi-Wan,
does Maul.
exactly, there's no definitive proof at the time showing that Anakin was the chosen one. As they said in the movie, if the prophecy is to be true, is he not to bring balance to the Force? If there is, they never say he is. They say if he is.
This is why
Well,
Star Wars is the best.
It really is, yeah. So, like for Obi-Wan, there is no definitive proof to suggest that Anakin is the chosen one. Luke could be, or it could be Leia, or it could be Jar Jar, it could be R2D2, or hear me out, it could all be the Gonk droid. We all know it's him.
Yeah, yeah.
But here's the
I
deal.
was
I
about
see
to say
the,
that. I think it is the Gonk droid, not Anakin. Yeah.
I see the
Ugh.
chat saying that Luke is not the chosen one, but why? In Legends, doesn't Luke have a higher midichlorian count than Anakin?
No, I don't think so. I think
don't
they have the
think so.
same midichlorian count.
The exact same.
I don't think it's the exact same, but I think
But-
his is lower by a couple hundred, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. Like Anakin's is 27,000 and Luke's is like 26,500. I could be wrong, but I believe that is roughly the estimate.
I'll take your word on it. But here's the thing: Anakin doesn't meet his potential. I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
So he's never really full potential Anakin, as they like to put it.
Well, unless we look in the comics.
Well, he still becomes Vader anyway.
Yeah, but there we get to see a sliver of what his full potential could be, soloing
Yes,
the whole
true.
Jedi Council.
True. But Luke does. And we haven't really got to see it in canon, but Luke does. I mean, when he shows up in Mando, which we'll get to eventually, maybe tomorrow. But he does show up and he's badass. I mean, he crushes the Dark Trooper with his hand. Like, it's pretty badass. But that's just my rant about the Chosen One. I don't know. I still think Anakin's the Chosen One. Don't get me wrong. But Maul and Obi-Wan both calling Luke the Chosen One, and the Chosen One prophecy not really being a thing at all, can both make sense at the same time.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, you go.
Oh, are you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
Bro, this makes me want to make a long form video on which I don't know the different versions of the Chosen One. Like what's like the truth. I feel like that'd be interesting. for
Yeah,
sure.
make a
That
video
actually
called
beats-
"Who is the Chosen One," and then at the very
Yeah.
end, after this whole rant between Anakin and Luke, just go, "It's Rey."
It's Rey, guys, obviously. It is
Yeah,
all
I
my
think I'd
favorite.
get a lot of subs if I did that. Like people would really like the video, you know? Yeah.
I think I'm gonna steal that idea from you. So that's my idea now. Thanks for the
Ah.
suggestion.
Dang.
Wow.
So
live.
with that, let's place the Force Awakens.
Well,
Uh,
yes, but
well,
can I add one thing
yeah.
onto the Chosen One thing real quick?
Yeah, go.
I do agree with you that Anakin is the Chosen One, and the reason I say it's not Luke and it cannot be Luke is because the prophecy itself, when you're looking at it, it says a force wielder born of no father. It specifically states he has no father.
But let's not forget, Anakin is gone.
Yes,
I
but
am what remains.
technically speaking, Luke does have a father. Shmi said herself, there is no father.
I didn't see that scene. What movie is that from?
Oh, the where it talks about the prophecy?
No, when Padme and Anakin.
No,
Make
it was
Luke-
Shmi who said there was no father.
Sorry,
Oh yeah, you're right. They never
You're
showed
not the
that,
father.
so
That would be a
we
funny
don't
scene.
know. You really
we
don't
gotta
know.
get him. We gotta get him on that show. Who's the father?
Yes, Shmi's like, okay, it might be Palpatine or Plagueis or Yoda or Mace Windu
Yeah,
or Obi-Wan. You never know.
but again, the prophecy was created by whom again?
The Jedi, yes, but it's from a Force vision. As they say, the Force works in mysterious ways.
That's true, but the Force also drew Anakin to the dark side. You could say Palpatine, I guess, but even still,
Yeah, but the Force and the Sith also had their own Chosen One prophecy. The Sith
Really?
Arai. Yeah.
well, now
their-
they have the dyad in the Force, which is a whole new thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, we already know who the Sith Arai is. Well, we at least think we know who it is.
Is it Darth Bane?
Yeah, actually, it is.
Ooh,
Really?
I'm reading that book right now. It's really good, actually.
Yeah, because the
Nice.
prophecy said that the Sith Arai will destroy the Sith and rebuild the Sith, making them stronger than before.
Okay. No argument for me.
Mm.
All right, so I guess we should probably actually get back to what we were supposed to be doing and ranking the movies.
Like,
Maybe.
what are we doing here again? Like,
Yeah.
why am I in this room?
We're
Like,
talking Chosen One.
oh,
Yeah, we're here to talk about the Star Wars. You know,
The
Star
Chosen
Wars.
One. Obviously, Episode 7, The Force Awakens, is the Chosen One. That's why.
Yes, I
Hmm.
think we can all agree this is a solid F tier. Nah,
yeah,
I
I'm
think
down.
this is
I'm
a-
down for that. I
I
agree.
will give you guys
no.
B tier because I feel like I'm the only one on an island here saying that it might be better than Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, I gotta disagree
No,
with you
I
on that
agree.
entirely.
Better than Attack of the Clones.
Oh, really?
Bro, Kit Fisto, Plo Koon, Ayla Secura. What?
Yo, you are so right. Plo Koon is mine.
What?
I love that
It's
man.
not my fault that all of them died before this movie.
There's no proof
Yeah.
Plo Koon is dead. There's no.
Hey,
proof.
how do you know Kit Fisto died, bro? Like, he could
Exactly.
still be
He's
alive.
not dead. I'll
He's
be
still
preaching
alive.
that till I die. Kid Fisto, Plo Koon are alive.
Dude,
Kenny
well,
Mundy, I'm
we
glad
see
he died.
we see Plo Koon blow up, but
That's-
does Kid
That
Fisto?
doesn't mean he's dead, bro. Like,
They could
on.
always come back. The dark side of the force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be a natural, you know.
But-
exactly.
Kid Fisto, do we not see him die in the movies, or do we?
So he gets cut down by Palpatine, but
That's
we
an
don't.
illusion.
Oh yeah.
Like,
of
he
course.
could have just like crawled out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Duh.
crawled out.
Yeah. Honestly, because
course.
like who actually dies from lightsaber wounds nowadays? Like, come on, let's be honest.
Exactly.
You got a point there. Okay. The Force Awakens, though, I will give you a lower than Attack of the Clones A tier.
I'd give it a B tier.
I'd
Uh,
also give it a high B,
I'll-
but at
I'll
least
settle for B.
above Solo, at least.
Yeah, I'll
I-
give you
Yeah, I
that.
guess we could settle with that.
We can compromise with F tier, guys. Hear me out. Hear me out.
There isn't even an
there's
F
not
tier
an
on
F-
here.
Yeah.
So.
Ah,
I'm
you're right.
down for
No, I
that.
thought if you
can't-
like scrolled down a little bit, it'd be there.
Nope,
but
nope, it's not there.
Hey, I'm just saying F tier does look mighty nice. We could put something on there.
There's nothing in F tier.
Yeah,
There's
just
no
saying,
F tier
guys.
for a reason.
Yeah. We have a lot of shows specifically reserved, like the Acolyte.
Oh no. We fought
Yes.
for a long time yesterday. We'll get to that later.
We'll get to it later.
All right.
Because we got to talk about The Last Jedi. I want to hear Morgan's take on this.
Oh, yeah.
So do we settle that
Yeah,
low B?
Yes.
Above
I
Solo.
agree.
Okay, I agree.
Nice.
Okay. Does this mean it's time to go on a rant about the
Yes,
last?
let's hear it.
Okay, I
What
don't
about
really
the
have a
last
huge-
one you were just on?
Wait, do you like The Last Jedi? I need to know.
Yes.
Oh
I do.
my gosh.
I do.
No. I
Now,
hated that movie.
keep in mind that I said The Force Awakens was an F tier. So this
I
isn't
remember
me
that.
being like, I love Disney Star Wars. No. No,
You redeemed yourself and then screwed yourself over.
nah, that's true. That's true. But
exactly.
the thing is, The Last Jedi for me, one big thing is I think visually it is absolutely gorgeous and like on a level completely above The Force Awakens. Like, yes, the visual effects are great and everything, but like the cinematography, the art direction, just everything in the movie, it just looks amazing, like on a level above really any of the George Lucas movies as well, which to me is already a huge thing. Also, another huge thing for me is that it took every single character in the movie, they all have a big change by the end of it. Like they all go through some interesting arc. And I feel like to me that makes each character more interesting and it just makes all of it more fun to watch overall. Also, I think the action was really well done in a way where it's like very tense and all kind of builds up to really great moments like the Holdo maneuver and stuff like that. And with Luke Skywalker's character, personally, I think that for a Star Wars movie, for that character, that was the wrong decision to make. However, I think it was an interesting one. And I think it took the character in an interesting way, even if personally, if I was to make that movie, I probably wouldn't go that route. Because if you think about the original trilogy, the whole thing with Luke is that he always fails again and again. But then at the end of the day, he is a good person and he ends up making that decision that puts him above everyone else. And in this movie, he kind of just, sits around and wallows. So on one hand, it's like, our heroes aren't really perfect. And that's kind of a cool little look on things. At the same time, I don't think it was the best direction to take him, but I kind of think it makes up for it with him sort of sacrificing himself at the very end of the movie by using the Force with such an incredible ability that it stops the First Order and then helps the Resistance out. So I don't know. I just think overall it has a lot to offer. It's my favorite of the sequels, but I still don't think it's as good as any of the George Lucas Star Wars movies, and maybe not even as good as Rogue One. So yeah.
Okay. I like it. I like it. I do. I like the take. I like the take a lot. So for me, The Last Jedi is my least favorite Star Wars movie. It's number 11 of 11. And here's why. Luke Skywalker, like you just mentioned, in the original trilogy is always I'm gonna go save my friends. Is he doesn't finish his training with Yoda on Dagobah. He goes to save his friends instead. He's never gonna leave his sister behind, and he's definitely not gonna leave. He's definitely not gonna leave his sister behind, but he's not gonna leave his friends behind either. So to have this character go from that to where he is in The Last Jedi does not make sense. Now, like you mentioned, there's people out there, maybe whatever, that love to see that their heroes can go through stuff like this and get through it. But we need the story in between. There is 25 plus years, or whatever it is, 20 plus years between Return of the Jedi and The Last Jedi. We need that story explained, because I think, in a crazy way, The Last Jedi could become a really good movie. Yes, I said that. If why Luke is on Ahch-To is explained correctly. If it's some crazy reason as to why he has to go into hiding. Now, I could throw all crazy ideas at you all day long. Maybe he doesn't want his blood to be taken to create a clone version of Palpatine, or a clone army of himself. Maybe he comes up against a Luke Skywalker clone at some point in those years, and he knows that because we know for a fact in canon that his hand that was chopped off on Bespin is on Exegol, being used to help create the clone version of Palpatine. So if he maybe somehow finds that out and knows that only his blood, and maybe Grogu's blood too, can create Snoke or create Palpatine's clone, then maybe that's good enough to make him go into hiding. But it still wouldn't stop him from coming back and save his sister. So there has to be something absolutely insane that puts him into hiding there that could be explained, but it can't just be Kylo Ren having a bad dream. And that's what The Last Jedi explains. So for those reasons, I think there's room for a lot of improvement with The Last Jedi in content around the sequel trilogy. You don't have to go in and change the sequel trilogy at all. It can remain the same. But the content before and the content after, but mostly the content before, has to be explained. It has to be done correctly. It's like the Clone Wars helping out the prequel trilogy. Not that I think the prequel trilogy needs help, but it helped drastically, because Ahsoka leaving the Jedi Order is a huge reason as to why Anakin falls to the dark side, and nobody can convince me otherwise. But that doesn't exist without 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. So I think something similar has to happen with the sequel trilogy, with The Last Jedi specifically, and Luke Skywalker specifically, to help me with that, because I can't get past it. I don't dislike the movie. I can sit and watch it and not be like, meh, meh, meh. I can sit and watch it and have fun. I love the action. I love all that stuff. It's a good sort of final scene. Luke projecting himself across the galaxy. It's impressive. It's cool. It's badass. Him dying, maybe not so much, but him doing that is really, really cool. And that scene on Crait itself is awesome. But it needs to be explained better, because right now, Kylo Ren having 1 bad dream or 2 bad dreams or 3 bad or 20 bad dreams, I don't care how many bad dreams he has, it's not good enough. And that's why it's my least favorite Star Wars movie.
Could I say one more thing about like another reason why I like it, to kind of justify my terrible take here?
Yes.
Also, I feel like everything that you said was pretty, like I can see and agree with for the most part. Actually all of it, yeah. But another reason I like The Last Jedi a lot, and it's my favorite of the sequels, is that, like you, Mike, said earlier with The Force Awakens, how it sets up everything really well for the sequel trilogy. However, at the same time, it doesn't really explain anything at all. Like, it's all just like, okay, here's
All set
Snoke.
up.
Luke Skywalker's missing, right? All this stuff. To me, The Last Jedi took every single one of these different plot points that we had no explanation for, and then added an explanation for like all of it. Like, not where it came from. There are some things, but I feel like there is a huge amount of stuff that was like filled in with The Last Jedi. And even if you don't like it or not, I feel like that's already pretty valuable, that they didn't really like play it really safe. You know, they tried to actually like go out and create some lore, I guess, for some of this stuff. And I feel like that's kind of valuable personally, but yeah, that's
I
another
agree.
reason I'd say it's.
I agree with that. I think actually killing Snoke in The Last Jedi is not a bad move. My problem with it is they didn't explain who Snoke was. If they explained who he was, or even explained what he actually ends up being, which is just a puppet of Palpatine, then I would have been more okay with it. I actually like the twist of killing Snoke. Sorry, not Plagueis. Killing Snoke, because it works well. Actually, I really like that scene in the throne room where Snoke is explaining exactly what he's doing. He turns the lightsaber and ignites it, striking down whatever, and kills Snoke. And then you get, of course, the throne room scene, which I don't really dislike either. You're still holding on. It's one of my favorite lines in Star Wars. Yeah.
No, I love the throne room. Like, people say the choreography is bad, but I really like that whole scene.
Yeah, I agree.
just think it's well directed. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they say the choreography is bad. It's the same people the same people who say that the choreography in the Acolyte's bad. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get to that. Believe me.
Okay, but I agree with you in a lot of those aspects, actually, because I'm saying it's the worst Star Wars movie in my personal opinion, but I still put it at a B tier, or maybe even a C, but a B tier below Solo. It's my least favorite, but it's not like I'm gonna go out of my way to be like, wreck on that movie, get rid of it. Like, no, I would watch that if it's on TV. I'll put it on and watch it. Like, I don't have a problem doing that.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm just gonna say it straight out of the bat. I hate The Last Jedi. It's easily an F tier for me. Now, I will get to explaining everything because I have a lot of reasons for why I do this.
Yep.
But first, I want to say what I liked about the movie. Visually, it is gorgeous. It is the most beautiful movie I've ever seen. The battle on Crate is unmatched with how visually stunning it is. I love that. Like, if you were to just show me that battle, I would watch it time and time again just because it looks really good. But story-wise, no. I like that we got to see more of Finn. That was really cool. I just wish we got to more expand on his character. And I feel like that his sacrifice at the end, if Rose actually let him kill himself, that would have been really impactful. Just because, like, I wouldn't say it would have had a full circle, but it would have added some weight to the movie. But that's kind of where all the good things that I say about it kind of end, because you guys talked about Luke. I despise what they did to him because, like you said, Luke is the type of character where he could get beat down time and time again and he'll get back up. But the moment he literally saw the good in a man who slaughtered younglings, which, I mean, who hasn't? But the thing is, that's not important. The thing is, okay. The thing is, though, he saw the good in him and then decided to redeem him. That is a mass murderer right there. He's cool, but mass murderer, and he saw the good and redeemed him. Yet his nephew has a few bad dreams and decides, you know what? Screw this kid, I'm gonna kill him. It's like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. And
Yes.
I like plot twists and all, but that was a really bad plot twist.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. And then for Snoke, I'm sad they killed him. I really liked his character. And it's a shame what they did because I saw a lot of potential in him. And then for Rey, I don't know. I did not like her progression in the movie. Yes, she got training with Luke Skywalker, Grandmaster Luke, but she didn't really train with him. He kind of was like, I'm gonna drink some green milk and chill. While Luke training with Yoda is like, I will go on courses with you, teach you about the Force. So the training was way too much different. And so it's just like, why did they change it up? And I had another point in my head. Or is it? Yeah, for like the you're still holding on. I like that scene. That was a good scene.
Yeah.
Where they were like reaching out and they broke the lightsaber in half. I felt that was really symbolic of showing how like they're literally torn in two. We have the grandson of Anakin and the granddaughter of Palpatine. Like literally, like that is symbolically beautiful. That is a masterpiece. But then they just didn't execute it in the right way. And there's also other like small details I just didn't like the Holdo maneuver. I thought that it was a very dumb thing because yes, hyperspace is incredibly powerful. But the whole thing about hyperspace is a separate dimension. It's not like you're traveling really fast, but you're in a separate dimension. You're not in the Stars galaxy anymore if you look at it from that way. So for it to be able to cut through multiple Star Destroyers in that massive one, it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's this one video I saw. It was the Holder maneuver, but it's lore accurate. First of all, Admiral Akbar did it, which yes, please. And second, it showed that it would have cut through the first one, but that's where it would have stopped. There is no ship in the galaxy besides for maybe the Death Star or the Executor that has shields that strong.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
but
never, I never thought, I never even thought about it that way.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
I like the Haldo maneuver. Honestly, I agree with you that Haldo herself was a weird character. Like, it would have made sense for it to be like a veteran from the original trilogy. Like if it was Wedge or Akbar, like you said, like anybody. Like Haldo's a brand new character that we had no idea who she was, and then we were supposed to really feel something when she sacrifices herself.
yeah.
Sorry. The move was cool. Visually, it was awesome,
Oh yeah,
but
100%.
I had no connection to that character. But going back to The Last Jedi a little bit more, it's all just one slow chase scene.
Yeah.
And yes, I love the ending on Crate. I love the you're still holding on stuff. The Raylo stuff in the sequel trilogy is really, really good. The whole dynamic between two grandchildren of the OGs, but it's just a slow chase scene. Like I feel as though they could have done something. I don't know what they would have done, but it's something I guess better than that. Like it's all just one slow chase scene. When they go to Casino Planet, Canto Bight. When they go to Canto Bight, it's almost like they just needed to fill in the time. Because Canto Bight, they're just looking for this guy who eventually just stabs them in the back. And that whole story is pretty much pointless by the end because you didn't need any of that at all. So I don't know. There's bad aspects to the story. Visually, it's great. Luke needs to be explained because, like you said, it's just one bad dream. It shouldn't be that way. But hey, I think there's a way to fix it. I do. I really do.
I just had a thought before Ike, you give your thoughts on the movie. It is interesting. So, couldn't you argue that Finn and Rose on Canto Bight, with that being useless, couldn't you also argue Anakin and Padme going to Naboo and just like being there is useless? Because hear me out.
Yeah.
I know this is obviously a crazy take, like absolutely,
Yeah.
like I should be banned from the stream for this. But Ray,
Don't jinx it.
no, not Ray.
Rose.
But what's her name? Rose and Finn. That section of the movie is to establish them as on a relationship, but you know what I'm saying, like their dynamic. Whereas Attack of the Clones, on the section on Naboo, is to establish those two characters' dynamic. But if we look at that part of the movie from a plot perspective, Anakin and Padme going to Naboo specifically, it doesn't add anything to the movie as a whole, to the story of the Clone Wars and all that stuff. And then if you go over to the other one, the Canto Bight stuff doesn't. You know what I'm saying? I
totally get what you mean. But here's the thing: Anakin and Padme eventually become the father of Luke and Leia, and that needs to be told. They have to fall in love. Rose and Finn, I agree with you. If they did become a love thing, which they probably should have, like the end of that movie sets that up perfectly. But the Rise of Skywalker doesn't continue that. Like that doesn't keep going. Like, yes, they kiss at the end of the movie, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, exactly. She saves his life. They kiss at the end of the movie. They're supposed to be this thing, but the Rise of Skywalker doesn't continue that story. So I would agree with you that it wouldn't be for nothing if that's where their stories went, and I would have been actually okay with that. I would have liked to see Rose and Finn be a thing like that. Maybe not as big as Anakin and Padme, of course, but it would make the Canto Bight stuff way more meaningful.
Doesn't that mean that you should, like, that's J.J. Abrams' fault, though? Like, that can't really be a fault with The Last Jedi, I feel like.
Yes, in a way. So I will grant you that. The Canto Bight stuff does make sense and does serve a purpose when you look at it as The Last Jedi is the end. So when you look at it as one whole movie, yes, the Canto Bight stuff makes sense, and you're absolutely right. When you look at it as a trilogy, as a full story, then it doesn't. But I will grant you that, yes, The Last Jedi does make perfect sense. Indeed, it does.
What about you, Ike? We got to say.
So, for The Last Jedi, I've heard everything that you guys have said, and I do not disagree with any point that you guys have brought up, but there's one point I was really hoping you guys didn't bring up so I could bring up. If there's one life lesson The Last Jedi teaches you, it must really hurt to get smacked by a fern. get smacked in
No.
the hand.
Oh,
plant.
Yeah.
that
Really
hurts. Like, that hurts. I've had that happen to me. It hurts. It happened to my face. It is so painful.
So that if there's one life lesson, don't let someone smack you with a leaf of a plant.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's what I took away from the movie too. I watched it and I finished and I was like, I liked it.
Don't
a lot of
get
people
hit
didn't
by
like
a
it, but
plant.
that scene with the fern, bro, that was pretty cool.
Don't get hurt. Don't get hit by one.
Yeah. I also picked up a thing too. It's
Serious.
don't get trained by an old man on an island. He'll hit you. That's what I picked up.
Oh, that's
Okay, well, going
that's a
back
life
to
lesson
because
you need to learn.
a lot of the Last Jedi is almost like unanswered questions. When Rey goes to the cave, why does she see herself in a bunch of mirrors?
I think
Oh,
that
that's a
represents
good
the
point.
clones, if I'm not mistaken. It's showing that she's has a heritage of clone DNA, because her father was the cloned son of Palpatine.
Interesting,
I
but
think at
at
least
the
I could be
time,
mistaken.
what Ryan Johnson was thinking was not that. Like he was making her a nobody.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I know what he had in mind. Remember the whole thing is that like you come from nothing, so I think it's kind of like maybe showing that like she's enough, like she doesn't need like because if you think about when Luke has his cave scene, because it's obviously the exact same scene, when when the big reveal in that is that he sees his own face, which is about his father, them being the same or him Vader being his father is what that relates to. So his father essentially. But when Rey sees herself, it's not any other character. There's nothing else going on. It's just her. So it's almost as if to show she doesn't need some family lineage to be impactful, I guess.
I actually kind of see it in a different light here. When Luke goes into the cave on Dagobah, he fights Vader, but his mask pops off and it's his face. So what he's really scared of is almost himself becoming Vader. That's what he's scared of. So maybe what Rey's seeing here is that she is just nobody, and that's the fear. That it doesn't have a role in this, like, because she always says, "I'm trying to find my place in this in my story in the story." And maybe that's her fear that she's not going to, or that she's just lost and by herself. I don't know. There's definitely a lot of different ways to look at it because there's a lot of different ways to look at the Luke on Dagobah scene too.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
actually, I feel like what you said makes more sense than what I said. I didn't really think of it that way, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see the Luke Dagobah scene as Luke not wanting to become his father because that's who's under the mask. He's fighting himself. But you could also sort of see it as the Force telling him that he's maybe somehow, I guess, related to this character. Like that happens before the big reveal. I don't know.
Mm.
There's a lot of ways to look at it. It's like the Chosen One.
Oh, hey, gotta throw that back in.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we have to place the
this
Last
movie-
Jedi.
Yeah, this movie definitely left you asking more questions than it answered. But overall, I think that The Last Jedi is fair to see, hearing what you guys have all said about it. I know that Ty wants to put it in F, but clearly there is not an F tier on the tier
Yeah.
list.
I can. How about this? Here's what I'd say. We don't rank it at all. How about that, guys?
No.
Call me a madman.
Nah.
Do we need
I
to
would
rank
say-
it?
That'd be
I would-
lying to the viewers.
True.
I would say-
No. We're not lying to them. We technically ranked it as unranked. So,
Mm.
in a sense, we did rank it.
That's
I
true.
would say a B tier, but I'm open to moving it around.
I'd say C.
I
then,
think
yeah.
I think the lowest it can go is C. I don't think it's quite a D because there are some good parts of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Morgan.
we agree. We agree on low A tier, correct?
Oh,
No.
I can give you-
you almost had
I
me
can
there
give
for a
you
second.
high B.
I can give you
we'll-
low
Like
B.
D
Low B,
plus.
low B.
Okay.
That'll, or actually C. Didn't we agree on C?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
give you
down
guys
for
high
C.
C.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I was gonna give you B all day long, but I'll give you C.
Yeah,
It's all good.
let's
I don't
do
care that
Cs.
much about it. Yeah.
Okay,
All
Rise of Skywalker. I want to start on this one because every live
Alrighty.
stream that I've had for the last, I don't know, 2 years, midstream I'll drink out of this cup and then it'll go empty, so I'll pull out this cup. And this is actually a Rise of Skywalker cup. it's clearly gone through some things, and that's why when I bring it out during my live streams, people say good cups follow orders. It's a long story, but whatever. It's been through some things. It's a good soldier. It follows orders. It's a good cup, but it is a Rise of Skywalker cup nonetheless. And I got this when Rise of Skywalker premiered in 2019. And what's funny to me is Rise of Skywalker is almost like if you've never seen Star Wars before and you don't know the lore, you don't know anything, Rise of Skywalker would be a awesome movie. Like you'd be like, the action's cool, the shots are awesome, like the story's cool. This cool Palpatine guy, he returned. Where was he? What happened to him? I don't know. But they'd be like, they fly now. They must not have flown before. But no, the action scenes at the end are awesome. You wouldn't really have to know any prior knowledge. However, the problem becomes we do know the lore. We do know the story that came before, and it doesn't really make sense. Somehow Palpatine Returns is still, to this day, not explained well enough. Yes, it's getting some explanation. The Bad Batch, which we'll get to later, that has Project Necromancer. It's kicking off like during the prequel trilogy days where Palpatine's got his contingency plan always in place. Even in The Mandalorian, you're seeing the cloning projects, you're seeing Snoke, all that stuff. Grogu's blood being used. In the comics, you're seeing Exegol and Luke's hand being on Exegol and stuff like that. So it's being explained slowly. But at the time, 2019, somehow Palpatine Returns, that was the only explanation, and it was bad. So that within itself makes the movie not so good. However, by the end, I think it's where Rey's character was always supposed to go. She was supposed to be the hero. Finn, on the other hand, should have been a Jedi the whole entire time.
Agreed.
Huge wasted potential. Huge wasted potential. But if it was Palpatine from the jump, it would have been a lot better. If it was Palpatine from The Force Awakens, and you can still have Snoke, but Palpatine was pulling the strings, it would have been a lot better. For me, Rise of Skywalker is slightly better than The Last Jedi. I put it at a low B.
It's very
Okay,
interesting.
I think that's fair. You want to go, Ty?
Oh, sure. I think it's very interesting you say that it's low B. For me personally, I don't say that I'm a negative guy because I hated that movie. I personally did not like it that much. I definitely liked it a lot more than The Last Jedi. Visually, I loved it. I thought it was stunning, gorgeous. All the jumps through the different planets, I love that.
Yeah.
But that also made absolutely zero sense when they're jumping through planets. Because when you think about it, the only way the Empire was able to track the Millennium Falcon in the original trilogy was because they had a tracker on it. And even so, it took time to calculate where they were. Compared to this, where it's like they can jump and calculate it in not even seconds, in milliseconds. So that didn't make sense. Palpatine returning, I actually have a very, very unique opinion on this. At first, I hated it. I thought that made no sense. But then I looked deeper into Legends. This is not the first time this has happened. Palpatine returned in Legends as well.
Yeah, that's why I don't dislike it at all. I think if it was planned from the beginning and executed correctly, then it could have worked easily. Like you said, Palpatine's returned before.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, if this was planned from the beginning and we got to see the progression of it, yeah, I feel like this totally could have worked. The thing is, though, the execution didn't work that well. We see that it's just, you could really tell there was a change in directors in the movies. J.J. Abrams and all that stuff. You could tell there was a clear change in direction when directing the Last Jedi to The Rise of Skywalker, which also, the name does not make sense. Why is it called The Rise of Skywalker? Anakin's not in it. Neither is Luke, except for one scene. So
Yeah.
that always bugged me. I'm like, you should have called it like The Fall of Palpatine or whatever, or The Phantom Menace, because technically that is what it is.
Yeah.
It is The Phantom Menace. I'm not going to go on a rant for too long because I literally could talk about this for hours, but I will say this. It had a lot of wasted potential. I didn't like it. I think I would go for F tier, but like you said, there's no F tier. So I'd say C. It just, visually, I loved it. The concept of the Sith Eternal Empire, I found it semi-interesting, but overall, it needed a lot more explaining. But I'll leave it at that. I'm not a fan of the movie.
Am I the last person here?
Yeah, go for it.
Alright. Rise of Skywalker is an F tier for me personally because Palpatine, bro, he should not have come back. Cause like, think about it. Return of the Jedi. The whole thing in that movie when Anakin is redeemed and Luke saves him is they kill Palpatine. That's like the whole thing. It, like ends the story. So while I understand it was set up in Legends, I also think that kind of sucks. Then again, I haven't read those books, so maybe I shouldn't go there. But I haven't really seen how they've done that. But I just don't think that's a really good story. And obviously, it wasn't set up at all. They just say somehow Palpatine returned. Overall, it's really poorly written. I just think the writing's bad overall with that. And then, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of like confusing to watch. But I do think it is somewhat entertaining, and I would still watch it. But to me, it's just like an F tier. Not to say I hate it. I don't like it as a Star Wars movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, going to what you're talking about with Palpatine returning. My thing with that, and I get it, like the whole gist of Return of the Jedi is to kill Palpatine. It brings Vader back from the dark. It's Luke finishing his objective. It saves the galaxy. But Palpatine is such a genius. I mean, he orchestrated both sides of a whole galactic war in the Clone Wars.
Who hasn't?
Exactly. But he's such a genius, so powerful that you can't not think he wouldn't have a contingency plan ready for if he did die. Vader, the rule of two states that Vader's eventually supposed to overthrow him. But Palpatine doesn't want that. He wants to live forever, just like his master did, just like Anakin sort of does. Or at least he wants to save his wife. But he would have had a contingency plan in place. And that's why the Bad Batch and The Mandalorian and Battlefront 2 campaign makes so much sense. He would have had that plan in place. I think The Rise of Skywalker's fault is the execution. Or the sequel trilogy, I guess, in general, is the execution. I think The Mandalorian has done such a better job, even though it hasn't really touched it much at all. It's just alluding to it. Cloning Force sensitives, Snoke's theme on that thing on Navarro. Like, that stuff is really, really cool. If all that happened before the sequel trilogy was ever released, then you'd be on to something. Because people would be like, hold up, are they going to bring Palpatine back? But it wasn't done that way. And for those reasons, I'm out.
Oh my gosh, it's like the Shark Tank. We're out. Dude, I just got the reference.
Yeah. So we're saying like D tier, like F minus.
Yes.
No, okay. What about like C? Because
I put it on C tier with it.
Both said B. We both said like F, D. I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe C.
I would put it on C.
I have a compromise similar to The Last Jedi. We don't rank it.
This is not a don't rank list. This is a rank list.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that Last Jedi is better than The Rise of Skywalker for sure, but something that I see people don't talk about enough is how good C-3PO was in this movie. I feel like this was C-3PO's best movie in the entire 9 movies the 9 movies. I think that this is his best movie that he was in.
You're not wrong. He definitely had a bigger role in this.
He had a way bigger role.
With that being said, I still don't think that it takes it out of C. I would put it in C below The Last Jedi.
I can agree with that.
I agree.
I can agree with that. But let me counter that one more time to say S+. And hear me out.
Oh.
Babu
Frick.
Dude, you literally just said what I was about to bring up. I was about to bring up Babu Frick.
2 words, S tier. 2 more words, Babu Frick.
Okay, You know what, guys? I think I might have judged the movie a little too harsh. I think we should probably put it at an S+.
Now I can settle for B minus or C minus. Sorry, C.
I'd settle for a C. Yeah. No, don't put it up there. No, don't do that.
Also, Ike made one mistake. You said of the 9 movies, but there's actually 6 movies. So like, it's kind of
a
little mistake you made there.
Actually, there's only one movie, Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yeah,
There's 9. The 3 originals, the 3 prequels, and the 3 sequels. I'm not including the 2 Disney spinoffs.
It's
That's
really
true.
just
But
one
Rogue
movie
One
if
is
you
like
watch it all.
goated.
I think
all
we
right.
gotta just move to the next one. Oh, we're on to the shows now. Let's go.
Oh,
Well, no, the Clone Wars
No, it's
movie.
the Clone Wars movie. Don't forget the Clone Wars movie.
Come on, Mike.
oh, you forgot.
How
the
could I
movie.
forget?
Yeah.
All right,
Stinky the
I'll
Hut.
start on
Oh,
this one.
You
I'd
mean
like
the
to take
exact
this
same plot as the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Sorry.
I feel like this movie, first off, is overhated. I feel that very strongly. I feel like this is not anywhere near the best piece of Star Wars that we get, but it's nowhere near the worst that we get either. I feel like because it introduces Ahsoka, who I feel, as we'll get to onto the next tier list, is one of the best characters in Star Wars. I judge it with that being said that it is just 2 bad arcs of Clone Wars. So I say bottom of C, but above the Rise of Skywalker.
Oof. I love the Clone Wars, but that movie, I don't know. I was not a big fan of it. Which is surprising because I usually, any form of animation, I'm instantly inclined to love it. But I don't know. The animation just looked really weird. Like with I forgot the baby's name. I think it was like Nell the Hutt or something like that. Or Rada the Hutt, something like
Rada
that.
the Hutt.
Rada the Hutt, yeah. I did that
Stinky.
thing, Stinky, exactly. That thing, it lives in my head and I hate it. It's hideous. This is coming from a man who likes naked mole rats. I think. Oh yeah, I could go on a rant about those
Okay,
creatures.
that was
No, it's okay. You don't have to do that.
I insist, guys. I know a lot of facts, but anyway, I don't know. The movie itself was fun. Yeah, it definitely was fun, but I'd say B tier. Honestly, like it's not C, definitely not A, but it's solid B. I'd say above Solo.
Okay, I gotta go after that. We're comparing the Clone Wars movie, where the plot of the movie is to recover Jabba the Hutt's son, Stinky. Yes, it introduces Ahsoka.
Goated
It
name.
has
Goated
it
name.
has Anakin, who are 2 of my favorite characters, or my 2 favorite characters in Star Wars. It sets up the Clone Wars. Sure, it's not necessary at all. The entire
yeah.
Ahsoka could be introduced in episode 1, season 1 of the Clone Wars, and we could just go from there. This movie is so unnecessary, so pointless, and it seems just like you said, one of the filler episodes in the Clone Wars. Like, it doesn't even feel like it should be its own movie. There's a million better arcs in the Clone Wars. Even with the way that I feel about the sequel trilogy and those last 2 movies, The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, I can't in good conscience put this movie above those. Like, we're not even talking the same playing field here. I love Star Wars animation. Almost all of it, I would argue, is better content than a lot of the live action stuff, but this is just not it.
Yeah,
Not
they
even
have
close.
a fat slug in there for out of all the things.
Yes, it has Dooku. Yes, it has Asajj, but it's not even close. I'm talking maybe low C, maybe even high D.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about this one because I actually haven't watched it in 6 years. But I definitely would have some nostalgia for it if I watched it. I remember watching it with my friends at sleepovers and stuff a while back. And but yeah, it's from what I remember, it's kind of just bad Clone Wars episodes shoved together. So I'd say I'd go high C tier. But then again, I haven't watched it in forever, so I don't really have a good say in it. Probably just ignore what I said because I don't remember.
All right, so we'll
Oh, yeah.
automatically change your answer to an S tier. All right,
Yep.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
All right, I guess it's up to you.
So, well, I think that I would argue for bottom of B or top of C.
Wow.
Interesting. Why do you say that?
I feel like, as I said, to start the movie is that it brings in Ahsoka. It starts one of the best characters that the franchise knows. Even though
True.
it wasn't a great introduction, it still was an introduction.
Yeah, okay, I see your point.
I guess.
So we put in S plus. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what we
what
all
I'm
just
at.
said.
Plus.
You heard it loud and clear. Yep.
George
Yep,
intended
that's-
for it to go in S+ tier, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, wait a minute. I just remembered something. I said in the comment, only a hater would do 4 Fs in a row. I'd say this goes F tier, guys. I need to be that certified hater. Yeah, oh, it actually shows up right now. Only a
Hey.
hater would do 4 Fs in a row. All right, this is my 4F.
In all seriousness, it might be what made George Lucas sell the company. This movie right here. It might have been it. Because you think about it, the prequel trilogy ended, which he wanted to make because he wanted to finish telling the story of the tragedy of Anakin. And then he wanted to do his own thing. He wanted to make the Clone Wars. And that movie bombed. I mean, you look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores, you look at all that stuff. The show itself is incredible, and they were making that as they sold it, but they weren't making money. And that might have been the decision that George said, I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe.
No,
I'll give you low B. I'll give you low B, high C.
All right.
I think I see. But
I see.
I
A
guess
nice
high C.
high
Above
C.
The Last Jedi for sure.
Okay, high C above The Last Jedi. I agree.
What about a sunny D?
Agreed. Sunny D. Agreed.
could I
Honestly, I
talk
think
about the
that's-
Clone Wars possibly?
Go for it.
Okay. So like Loki, S tier, double S, probably like above Revenge of the Sith or in between Revenge and Empire. I even like the early seasons of the show. Yes, I have nostalgia for it, but I just think all the characters are really good. It established that era. It really built it a lot more. There's people that hate canon Clone Wars for what they did to people like General Grievous and all those other reasons. I'm a big supporter of this show. I think it's like basically peak Star Wars. And one of my favorite things that doesn't get talked about too much, besides Cad Bane, obviously that automatically puts it in S tier. But besides that, also a lot of the Jedi characters that we knew nothing about, we got episodes fully dedicated to them, as was the case with Padme and other people like that. And just like there's a lot of background characters we saw more of. It made them into fan favorites. And it has amazing arcs like Mortis, Umbara, everything with Ahsoka, Siege of Mandalore, Ahsoka leaving the Jedi, everything with Darth Maul and Savage Opress, Second Battle of Geonosis. All those are amazing. Like I said, I even like the early seasons, so that's why I think it should be S+. Yeah.
I
will-
completely S+. I would say above Revenge of the Sith and Empire Strikes Back. I still think it is the best thing that Star Wars has ever made to date. Not much more to say outside of that.
Okay, I will say that yes, it has aspects, has arcs, it has moments that are better than those two movies that we just put in S+. But as a whole, you got to still bunch it with the ones that aren't as good. You got to still put it in with the filler episodes, the filler arcs, the droid arcs, the all that stuff. I love the Clone Wars. Don't you get me wrong. But to put it above Revenge of the Sith and put it above Empire, it would be crazy. I think you have like the Siege of Mandalore, for example, probably the best arc, if not one of the best arcs in the Clone Wars. The Siege of Mandalore is incredible. But is that arc even it's by itself better than Revenge of the Sith? I don't think so. So how is I get it's 7 seasons and it's multiple arcs, but you also got to take the good with the bad. Ahsoka's my favorite. Ahsoka's my second favorite character. Anakin's my first favorite character. My third favorite character of all time is Darth Maul. The Darth Maul stuff in the Clone Wars is spectacular. I still don't put it above those two movies. Will I give you S+? Yes. But will I put it above those two movies? No. I'd also argue if it was just me here, I'd put it in S and I'd put it higher than the 3 movies we currently have in S, or maybe I'd put it even lower than that. But I will give you S+ because of what it did for the prequel trilogy, how it extends the prequel trilogy, the 7 seasons that it sets up for Ahsoka and all that stuff. But it's not better than those two movies.
Interesting.
Well, Ty, that makes you the divine factor of where we're putting
That
this.
does. All right, guys. I'm gonna say probably the most controversial thing ever. I think it's definitely S+, guys. S+ for sure. Like as you said, it brings in so many iconic characters. It reintroduces us to Maul. I will never forget when that scene where Mother tells Savage, like, you have a brother. That I lost my marbles. And then they brought him back, did complete justice to his character. I loved Maul. I love how his voice actor depicted him, he did a phenomenal job. I love how they expanded just on all the characters. And despite what a lot of people say, most of the time, I enjoyed the filler episodes. I thought they were fun most of the time. They added to the story for a majority of it. And they also gave us a lot of one-on-one scenes with Plo Koon, Kid Fisto, Jar Jar even. We got to find out he has a girlfriend. Are you kidding me? Jar Jar has more riz than I do. I'm single, but Jar Jar can get a girlfriend. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well, I will say that yes, you get the time to spend with those characters, and it's great. But that doesn't make it better than the two movies we're talking about here. Now,
well, it depends.
I will say this, going back to what you were just talking about. It sets up obviously Maul and all those great characters, but we have to remember that we only have 3 more spots in this S plus tier. So when you look across the board here, is there really only 2 left after this?
Oh, I can totally see only 2 left, and I know what to put there.
I agree.
All right.
Number Clone Wars S plus.
So
All right, I'll give you
with that, Mike, I think that you're outnumbered. Ty, do you think that Clone Wars is better than Empire and Revenge of the Sith?
Well, the way I see it, Empire Strikes Back 100% is better, or Clone Wars is better than The Empire Strikes Back 100%. The only reason I would put Clone Wars above Revenge of the Sith is because Revenge of the Sith is amplified solely because of the Clone Wars. Without Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith would not be as loved as it is right now.
That's because people are stupid. Bro.
I think that's
a masterpiece.
I think that's
I know
you're kind of wrong.
disagree.
Revenge of the Sith would still be loved even without the Clone Wars. I think the Clone Wars just made it more loved than it already was.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Don't get me wrong. Revenge of the Sith by itself is still phenomenal. I'm just saying that the Clone Wars expanded on it, gave us more. It explained a lot of things.
It did for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
still
with
love
that,
Revenge of the Sith. S tier.
3
for
of
sure.
us putting it above both of them. Mike, I think that you're outnumbered in this one.
I'll take the L here.
We could put it in the middle because,
Well,
like,
I
Mike did
would-
say
I would-
high
I-
If you put it in the middle, I'm honestly down with that. That's fine by me.
I agree. Is that a better compromise for you, Mike?
I like it. I like it.
As long as we
Revenge-
can all.
As long as Revenge stays at the top of that list.
Actually, I was about to say, we got to put the holiday special out there. It needs to be on S plus.
Yeah.
We can't forget about that, guys.
Are we going in release order here, or what are we doing? Just going in the order we got.
Tier list when I photos just threw them all in there. So it looks like all of animations going before live action. So we're ending with live action.
All right, that works. So was that Tales of the Jedi next?
That is Tales of the Jedi. Yes.
Ooh.
This is really tough. I've done ranking lists before with Tales of the Jedi on it. When you look at Tales of the Jedi, it's only 6 episodes and it's only like 10 to 15 minutes each episode. The fact of the matter is it's ridiculously good. It's Ahsoka, it's Dooku, it's explaining how Ahsoka survives Order 66. It's how Ahsoka becomes Fulcrum in in Rebels. It's Dooku's backstory, which everybody wanted to see more of Dooku. It's a masterpiece. But you're comparing it to movies and shows that are way longer than it with way more content. So it's very, very hard to place. And I don't know where to put it. So go ahead.
I feel
All
like
right.
it's, you got
Go ahead.
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll go for you.
I'd say it is high B tier.
Ooh.
Well, yeah. High B tier. Because I think the Dooku stuff is amazing, and I think most of the Ahsoka episodes are really good as well. Then again, it is. But what do we have in B tier? We have Force Awakens, Solo. So yeah, no, I could see high B tier. I feel like that's pretty reasonable.
All right. I don't completely disagree with that. I think because the Dooku stuff is so good, I'd want to bump it to low A, but I'd be willing to keep it behind Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones because the Ahsoka stuff was not terrible, but the Dooku stuff was like low S tier and Ahsoka was like low B tier stuff. So I think I would want to bump it to low A if you're willing to do that.
No, that's unacceptable. It has to be high B, or I'm leaving right now.
All right, I
That'd be
guess it's up to
crazy.
me then.
Yeah.
So, the Blue Bounty Hunter, it was nice talking to you. You can leave because we're not moving it down.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm messing with
See,
you.
guys, it was a good
That's not gonna
stream.
be
Nice to meet you, Morgan.
All right, so I just got one of our YouTubers. Sorry about that.
Come on,
I
Ty.
honestly,
Who invited that guy anyway?
yeah, what a nerd.
I
Honestly,
invited all three of you guys, so
oh
my
yeah,
fault.
you did. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
man, bro.
he's back.
Oh,
He
look
likes
who's back.
Jedi. What the hell is wrong with that guy?
Would draw him back in. Anyway, I
Ah.
honestly, I'd give Tales of the Jedi low S tier. I know that is like
Oh.
really high, but because the Dooku scenes are phenomenal to me. I came into Tales of the Jedi. I did not have a lot of hope for it. I was like, oh, it'll be cool, I guess. But then I watched it, before Dooku was like, I don't know, he was in my top 20 characters. But after that, he's in my top like 7. I love Dooku.
The rewatchability on that show is insane because it's so
Oh,
short
yeah.
and concise.
It really is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with that, Mike, we need you to rank it.
I'll put it in the A because I honestly agree with Ty there. I think you could argue even S. If it wasn't a tier with the movies on it, you could definitely argue if it's just shows, it's an S tier show. But with the movies here, I would put it in A. And honestly, I'd put it
Would you put it
probably.
below?
Would I put it below the 2 movies? I mean, you got to say yes. Again, it's a timing thing. You're talking about like maybe 55, 60 minutes of content versus 2.5 hours of a movie. Like it's hard to even compare the two. But I will, yeah, low A,
Low B. Yep. All right.
low A, yeah,
Oh no,
Low
we're
A,
not
low
going
A.
for B with this. We're
low A,
going
low A, low A.
I misspoke. Sorry, Ty.
It's okay. You are forgiven.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
Tales of the Empire now is
Ooh.
really interesting to me because personally, it's not as good as Tales of the Jedi. Obviously, I mean maybe that's not obvious. Maybe you guys like it more. I don't know. But
No,
to me,
I
it's
agree with that.
not as good as Tales of the Jedi. But because of the 2 main characters, it's Ahsoka and Dooku versus Barriss and Morgan Elsbeth. Obviously, it's not even the same conversation. But you have that Grievous massacre on the Night Sisters, which is great. You got Thrawn and the TIE Defender stuff, and I'm a big Rebels guy, so that's kind of my own thing. I'd put it. Shit. Looking at our list here, I don't know where I put it. I put it in low B, I think. Maybe even.
Let's
see.
I don't know. Personally,
I feel like B is fair considering the Grievous scenes were really cool and I did enjoy those a lot. And not to say I hated the Barriss stuff or even the Morgan Elsbeth stuff because Thrawn was really cool to see in this. Like when I saw him in the trailer, I was a lot more excited for the show than what it gave me, I'll say. But I can see I'll give you bottom of B, but I want it below Force Awakens and Solo.
Ooh, honestly, Tales of the Empire, it's honestly between B and C to me. Visually, it is one of the best animations there is,
Yeah.
just because the animation just really grew over the years.
Yeah.
And I loved that Grievous scene. That was the most horrifying yet accurate representation of Grievous I've ever seen. That was beautiful. As he like shouted at Morgan to run away, as he laughed maniacally. I loved that. Maybe I'm just a huge horror guy, but like I thought that was amazing. But then after the episodes continued on, I was like, okay, this isn't really Tales of the Empire. This is kind of Tales of Morgan. And then for Barriss, same thing. The first episode was phenomenal. We get to see how the Inquisitorius runs. You see other Jedi survivors. And then when that one guy tries to escape and they kill him, I was genuinely shocked. I was like, wait, what? That was crazy. But then she leaves. Why? She was so distrusting of the Jedi that she bombed the temple. And now all of a sudden she wants to become a Jedi again. I see what they were going for, but they didn't give it enough time to evolve. So for that, I'm gonna give it a low B. Low B. I'm gonna put it below Solo.
B.
Yeah, I'd give it a low C because it was extremely disappointing for me personally. I thought it was gonna be like, I thought it was gonna be like Tales of the Jedi, and then I watched it and I was like, this is lame. It had great animation. They did some interesting things. It was cool seeing Thrawn. However, they went from Dooku and Ahsoka, two of the most interesting characters in the Clone Wars era, to Barriss Offee and Morgan Elsbeth, who, I want to see newer characters with interesting stories, but like they weren't. I don't know. I just didn't care about them, if that makes sense. So I'd say low C personally.
It is the character choice. Like you go from two goats to two randoms almost.
Yeah.
I could get with a C.
I
High or
could
low.
get with C if it's higher end C.
Okay. I'm good with that.
All
I'm
right.
fine with that. Fine by me.
Do we think it's better than Clone Wars movie? Can we put it above the Clone Wars movie?
Honestly, I'd be fine with it. Visually, it's a galaxy ahead. It's an entire light year ahead.
Yeah.
Story wise, they're kind of the same.
Yeah.
Just unneeded filler.
Okay, so the next show is Bad Batch. I would like to start with Bad Batch because I have something to direct first before I continue on it. Sid is not the worst character in Star Wars, Mike. That's the one thing I have to say before I continue. I've heard what you've had to say about her
I
stream after
disagree.
stream.
I don't like Sid.
I think Mike's booking it.
All right, Mike's gone.
no.
I'll say what he was thinking.
Wow.
You're wrong.
Now we only have
Sid is
two of
good.
us left now because I already left. It's just you two
Oh my
guys.
Yeah,
gosh,
that's
it's just me and Kenobi now.
Yeah.
Dude,
Wow.
all right, Ike. I'm gonna give it to you straight.
Well,
This is my live stream, and honestly, I gotta say it. Sid sucked as a character.
okay, so I'm in the minority on that. I
Yeah.
think that
Well,
Sid is not an awful character.
she was interesting, but they kind of after she like betrayed them, she did nothing. Like she wasn't even in the show. So I liked her. She
That's
was
fair.
very interesting, but after she betrayed them, I was kind of like, wait, what? That's it? Nothing else?
I can see that. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, she's like an S tier character, but I don't think that she's F tier either. And I now have the chat. I have Brandon like attacking me on like levels.
Oh, and CJ.
Yeah, and CJ too.
But I
Sid is
will-
bad, and
Yeah, but I will say this. A bad character does not make a bad show. You can have characters you absolutely hate, but they, if anything, they make the show even better. So I will give you that.
oh, and not now. I need to hold on. Let's just wait 1 second because Mike has something to say in the comments without using his mic. We'll leave this one up for a little while.
That
Who
guy
is
who loves
that
Star Wars. That guy who loves Star Wars guy. He's pretty smart.
Yeah, I don't know. He seems to have a
Well,
lot of logic
okay.
behind what he's saying.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let me give my Bad Batch take here. Bad Batch season 1 opens with a bang. I mean, it's like an hour and a half episode of Order 66, Kanan Jarrus, whatever you want to call him. It's great. It sets up Omega, who's a great new character in Star Wars. The Bad Batch themselves are awesome. Crosshair's arc is one of the best arcs. It's a very Anakin-esque arc almost. The Bad Batch members themselves are great. Hunter's great. Tech's great. R.I.P. Wrecker's great. Crosshair's great. You got a really great show going on there. Season 1, a lot of filler. Season 2, a lot of filler. The finale's great. Season 3, though. Season 3, I would say, is the third best season of animated Star Wars. Yeah.
No, I agree with you completely on that.
I leave it at that. But the
Yeah,
third season alone, it's like you talked about with the animation style, it's the best of the best. And the story-wise, with Mount Tantus, Project Necromancer, Omega's real purpose, her real why this whole show is around her is explained. Of course, you got the prologue or the epilogue, sorry, where she is older now and joins the rebellion, all that stuff. It's an incredible season from start to finish. The least amount of filler episodes. There are some, but still, you got Crosshair's redemption back to the light. It's an incredible season. Incredible. You got Palpatine, Project Necromancer, like I mentioned, Dr. Hemlock, the Zillo Beast, all that stuff. The end of the Clone Wars, end of Kamino, end of all that stuff. It's great. But the first two seasons for me drag it down. I'd probably end around a high B, maybe low A.
Ooh.
Agree with High
But
B.
with that, my final thing, is Sid is the worst. And even with that,
Oh,
the show is good.
just keep throwing stones and like lighting gasoline.
She's the worst, okay? She killed Tech.
I love the Bad Batch. I'm just saying it. It's S tier for me, no matter what.
Really?
S tier. Visually amazing. I love how they expanded on the clones and all that. I don't want to go in too much because I already talked to Ike about this. You already know I love the Bad Batch. Anything Clone Wars related, automatic. It's either an A or an S tier. I'm not putting it an S plus because it's not that good, but seasons 1 and 3, especially season 3,
Yeah.
blew my freaking mind on how good it was.
Yep.
The Zillo Beast, Mount Tantus,
Yep.
all that. We got to see Commander Scorn in there. I was like, what the freak? This is crazy. I'm sad
Yeah.
they killed him, but, you know, it was still cool. We got to see Commander Wolf, Captain Rex, all that. Even Commander
Yeah, Wolf
Cody
was
for a
amazing
time.
to see.
Yeah, so, like, the cameos, which didn't even feel like cameos, they felt like they were part of the story and expanded. I love it. I give it a very high S tier, higher than Return of the Jedi, probably.
Wow. I will say if
Okay.
we're doing individual seasons, season 3 would be S tier for me, but it's just the whole show as a whole, you know.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Okay. So I don't think season 3 is an S tier personally, but I'd say Bad Batch is a high B tier. Yeah, I'd say it's reasonable. For me, the first 2 seasons were riddled with filler episodes, and I just overall never quite liked the show anywhere near as much as the Clone Wars until season 3, where I think it got a lot better, and with Crosshair and all that stuff, it became really interesting. However, personally, I still don't think, even with the 3rd season, which was better, it never quite reached the heights of the Clone Wars for me. So I don't know. It's never really been my favorite show, but I think there are some really standout episodes, especially with Crosshair and Omega and stuff like that. And I think that overall, there's some good things to like in there, but it's not my favorite. Yeah.
I get that. It's hard to compare it to the Clone Wars because Clone Wars is 7 seasons and we're talking 3, and Clone Wars is Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, like main characters. I get it.
I guess
So, go ahead.
Oh, no, nothing. I was just going to say, I guess before we rank it, we should say what we truly feel about Sid. We got to get out of the water.
Yes,
I
the worst.
feel like we have to say it. I'm feeling generous today, so I'll say this. Sid is a hated character, but not truly hated, you know? I'll say that.
On a list of like Pong Krell.
Oh, I hate Pong Krell.
On a list of like Pong Krell, I don't even know. John Nanawood, who else is the worst?
Ray.
Yeah,
Ocha
Sid is the lowest of the entire low. Yeah.
You know, we should do a
do we
live
wanna-
stream where we just. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say so we can get Bad Batch ranked before we go back to bashing Sid.
Oh, yes.
Do we agree low A or do we want to do high B?
I say S tier for me. That's my personal vote.
I say high B.
I agree with high B.
All right, Bounty Hunter. It's just you and me now. We can save it. We got to put it in high A.
Okay. I don't think Morgan's with you here.
Morgan,
here we
we
go.
got to do this.
So I would agree with high B personally, but as your outlier vote is an S tier, I believe this means that the most fair pick is for low A.
Yeah, I like it.
yes.
We are a
I'll-
democracy
yeah,
over here.
I'll-
I love democracy.
I love democracy, but you know how all democracies end. Somebody rises to power
With thunderous applause.
with thunder. And that's how liberty dies.
This is kind of creepy, bro. We all just know these
So-
quotes. Like,
Yeah, it is.
It is really weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So do we want to
we are.
say low A?
I'd say I
All
can
right,
agree
well,
with
wait.
that.
S plus.
Yo, in the future, we should do a live stream where we just bash all the characters we hate.
Oh my gosh. We'd have
That's a
people
good
that would
one.
want to watch
That would be like a 10-hour live stream at least.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
I'd be
Star
down.
Wars Rebels. Is Star Wars Rebels
Oh,
next?
Mike, you didn't like my little name adjustment for you?
Oh, I deleted it immediately.
Wait, what was his name adjustment? I didn't see it.
It said, Mike, I love Star Wars. I mean, I love Sid.
Oh,
If we're getting to the Rebels next, I need to start because it's going to be a hot take to maybe a few of you. Rebels is an S plus, and
I agree.
I don't think it's even
I agree too.
close. It's better than the Clone Wars for me.
Whoa,
not even
okay.
close.
Oh, I don't think you're gonna get that.
I told you it was a hot take.
Interesting
I told.
The Rebels is good, but like to say it's better than the Clone Wars?
No. I
No.
didn't say Rebels is good.
Wait, yes, you did.
It is one of, if not the single greatest Star Wars.
Oh, okay. Well, here's what I say to that. It is definitely one of my like second favorite show for Star Wars. Second favorite, and you'll know who my third and first is. Well, we already ranked my first, Clone Wars. The thing is, though, Rebels for me personally, I love it. It's not better than Clone Wars, but that's why I love it. It's like Clone Wars toned down a little bit, but also toned up in all the other ways.
Yes, I was gonna say it's Clone Wars toned up. It's Clone Wars
Yeah.
without the filler episodes. The first season, it has a lot of filler. I'll give you that. It's setting up all those brand new characters. Kanan's new, as the whole Ghost Crew is new. It's all new characters.
Yeah,
But
Agent Kallus and all that.
Season 2, Season 3, and Season 4 are all just bangers.
Oh my gosh,
It's all
season
just
four,
from
man. Oof.
Thrawn to Maul to Vader to Ahsoka to all these characters developing to now when it comes to Ahsoka, which we'll get to later, you have all these incredible characters that have become legacy characters. You talk about a legacy character, you think Luke Skywalker, you think Vader, you think Obi-Wan, you think those characters. Ahsoka is a legacy character, and that's because of the Clone Wars. Ezra, Kanan, Hera, those are now legacy characters. We're over a decade since Rebels started, and those characters have become legends. Dave Filoni, we haven't even mentioned all stream yet, is the GOAT. He, with George Lucas, created the Clone Wars, and he himself created the brand new cast of characters in Star Wars Rebels that are all incredible, one better than the last, every single one. But Season 3 and Season 4 specifically, I would put at the top of this list, only behind maybe Revenge of the Sith and a few shows that have yet to come. But as a whole, it's S plus tier. I will give you guys, because I know I'm not going to win this argument, lower than all that currently reside on S plus, but it's S plus.
Ooh,
I agree. I will give you that.
you have a very hard bargain. Yeah, I'm fine with that actually. Rebels, I love Kanan, I love Ezra, and I love Democracy. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. I had to. It's fine.
I mean,
nerds here.
We needed more of those quotes. For me, I think I wouldn't go S plus, I go S. However, I actually really respect that opinion. I think it's because I feel like most people would put in like A tier, or maybe I'm wrong. But that's just
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think Rebels is underappreciated.
So I feel like, bro, like Kanan dying, like his sacrifice, and then Ezra sacrificing himself, and then the characters, Thrawn, I think all those things are like so good. Like it's like really, really underappreciated. I don't have it in S plus. I have it in S. I just don't like it as much as the Clone Wars personally. I think that's more of a subjective thing than an objective thing. I just don't like it as much. I don't like the characters or most of the stories quite as much. I just don't think they're as interesting. I feel like I kind of disagree with you on the whole Clone Wars filler things, Mike, just because I don't know. I feel like most of those were establishing characters and like building things for Revenge of the Sith as well. However, there are things like the droid arc where the only real purpose of that is that George Lucas wanted to have some of the humor, like the classic C3PO R2D2 stuff, which arguably
Those are the best episodes.
isn't that valuable.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think Rebels I give it S. But if y'all want to put it like the bottom of S plus, then I think that's a reasonable spot.
Let's not forget, if we're sticking to the rules, we only have one more spot if we put it in S plus.
That's true, and I only have one more project out of all these that I do believe deserves S plus, so it would
Okay.
work for me, but based off of the rest, you guys have to decide if that works for you.
Yeah, fine with me.
It works for me because Rebels for me would have to be an S plus.
It has to be S
How
plus.
about
I only
you?
have one other show in mind that could definitely go in
I
S
have
plus.
3.
Hey,
Dang.
underrated
Oh, no, Mike.
hot take. There's not a single show on here. I actually can't tell what that one is. Oh, it's Skeleton Crew. Okay. None of these other ones I put S plus
Oh
personally.
wait, shoot! I forgot Andor's in this. Never mind. I have 2 that I need to put on.
I
S
got
plus.
3 S pluses.
I got
so
2. Oh
We'll
boy.
see.
Yeah. So, do we want to do Rebels at top of S, or do we want to give
Nope.
it one of the top?
No,
one of
it
the
has
spots
to be
in
S
plus?
plus.
S plus. I'm
Yes,
S
it
plus.
has to.
All
I
right.
don't want to, but it needs to be there.
To me, it's
And
better than
Morgan,
all
is
the
that okay with you?
shows we're about to get.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm chill with that.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it. Ah,
To.
Okay.
yeah. Another quote in. Yeah.
Before we can rank this next show, I promised I would let my sister come onto the channel and give her fair take on Mandalorian. So I'm going to give her a second to
A
come out here. And
Mandalorian?
A
Dang.
woman
Yeah.
on a
Yeah,
Star Wars
yeah.
thing? That's unheard of.
Nah, for
You're
real.
breaking the stereotypes about
She-
us.
has a couple seconds to get out here, and she'll help with Acolyte too. Okay.
Oh boy.
Here she
Let me
is.
bring out my sisters too.
Hello.
Hello. Hello
Hi.
there.
Hi. Okay, so I was told I'm going to be ranking The Mandalorian.
Yep.
I love
Yeah.
The Mandalorian. Best show ever. I probably like favorite. I would have to rank it as S plus, but I've been watching your guys' live stream for the past hour or two, and I see that there is not a spot unless like everyone agrees that it's S plus. But ever since I watched like Mandalorians and Clone Wars and Mandalorians like in all of Star Wars, Mandalorians are my favorite. They will always have my heart. I'm actually the CJ down in the chat. So I wrote Mandalorians for life in there. Definitely Mandalorian has to be in S plus.
See, that is a great take right there. That is just straight facts. Here's the deal. We only have 1 S plus remaining, and of the 3 that I have left, I think The Mandalorian deserves it the most. I think,
I don't know.
okay, hear me out. Because I'm assuming, well, when we look at the rest of the shows, you look at Book of Boba Fett, you look at Kenobi, you look at Ahsoka, you look at Andor, you look at Skeleton Crew, you look at the Acolyte. It's all 1 season. We're talking 3 seasons here. We're talking Mando season 1, which establishes Din Djarin, establishes Grogu, an incredible standalone story without any cameos needed. Introduces Moff Gideon, incredible. Then you talk about Mando season 2, and I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that, in my personal opinion, other than maybe a few seasons of something else. But Mando season 2, it's almost the exact opposite of Mando season 1. It's still as incredible, but it relies so much on cameos. Or not relies, but it's important to the story. You got Bo-Katan, you got Luke, you got Ahsoka's first ever live action appearance, you got Grogu given his name, you got Book of Boba Fett's return since 83. It's a masterpiece. Mando season 3, I get the argument. People don't like it too much, but it is the end of the Clone Wars. It is what the Clone Wars Mando arcs have all been leading to. The reclaiming of Mandalore after the Empire turned it to glass. And that's what it is. And it's a great battle scene. It's a great fight. It's awesome. The beginning half of the season, I agree with you. It's probably not as good. It's got its bits and pieces, Order 66 flashback, whatever. But it's not as good as the first 2 seasons. I'll grant you that. But as a whole, 3 seasons versus 1 of all those other shows I just listed off, when we only have 1 spot left here, it's got to be the 3 seasons of the Mandalorian. But that's just me.
I gotta disagree with you on that.
Agree.
I gotta disagree with you on that. And now listen, Mandalorian. I love the Mandalorian. Season 2, especially with the season finale, is top notch. In my opinion, that season finale is one of the best season finales out of all shows in general. You just can't beat it. But honestly, there's another show on here. I'm just gonna say Andor, for me, that deserves S plus. But I do see where you're coming from. 3 seasons is more than 1. And yes, seasons 1 and 2 were phenomenal. And season 3 was also pretty good. But I don't know. I like dark and gritty shows. Andor, I don't know. I love that show.
I get that, but isn't especially Mando season 1, isn't that sort of like dark and gritty? He's vaporizing Jawas with his blaster.
That's not dark and gritty. That's comedical.
I guess.
I wish I had his blaster. That would be so fun.
Well, here's the thing. I get your Andor because now we're kind of talking what else can fit in this S plus. Andor to me is really good. I think season 2 will actually even be better. It's going to cover more time, 4 years rather than just one. So it's really going to only cover the best of the best parts of the story. It's going to have Krennic in it. Probably going to have maybe some other Rogue One characters in it. K2SO is confirmed. So I think season 2 will be better than 1. And when you have season 2 and 1 together, I think it could even compete with The Mandalorian for this top spot. But right now, having it only be season 1, yes, that prison escape is great from Narkina 5. Yes, the Aldani stuff is really cool. But it's 12 episodes versus, I don't know, what is it? 8
I think
times
it's
3,
8
24. So 24 times 12. Versus 12. It's half the episodes, and it's just, you got Luke, you got Ahsoka, you got Din, you got Grogu. It's not close for me, but I get the argument.
I see where you're coming from. Sure.
I'm willing to give it S plus just with all the points that you brought up, but I also not Andor, but I also do have another show on this list that I do feel deserves S plus. But since we are going to listen to the 5 in S plus rule, I feel like
You said the
I'm
Acolyte,
willing
right?
to give it. It is not the Acolyte, no.
Wait, also, I just realized you changed my heading to I love Acolyte. I just noticed that now. How
Yeah,
dare
I
you?
did. I
How
did that a long
dare
time
you?
ago.
Oh my gosh, I'm so slow-minded.
So I'll give Mike top. I'll give him bottom of S plus, but I still think that there's another project that deserves it more. But I want to hear what Morgan has to say before we make any final decision on Mandalorian.
Yeah, you guys are gonna really, really like what I have to say. So, Mandalorian season 1 for me is A tier. Season 2 is S tier, and bro, season 3 honestly is like B or C tier. Like season 3 was like a big letdown for me personally. So all in all, I'd give it an A, which I know is a good bit lower than what y'all did. So, because like I feel like the first 2 seasons were really fresh and did something we hadn't seen in a while, and I feel like it is probably the best of all the Disney Plus era of Star Wars, which I personally really don't like overall, but I do think there are a few standouts. So yeah, I just think season 1 was so new and fresh. And then the biggest thing with season 2, some people don't like all the cameos, like you said, Mike, with Luke and Boba, Ahsoka. I think it's great. Season 2 is my favorite season, and I think the 2 episodes with Boba Fett are actually my 2 favorite in the show. I just think they're really good. Luke showing up was obviously incredible, like seeing him from Return of the Jedi, essentially, but like going all out and with his lightsaber, it was just amazing. And then to me, season 3, I just feel like they lost like everything they had going for it. I feel like the writing wasn't as good. The episodes weren't as interesting. They didn't need to bring Moff Gideon back because I feel like he was good in the first 2 seasons, and then he was like, oh, let's throw him back in here because like we can't come up with any better villains. Okay, but I don't know. And the battle at the end, I get what you're saying. To me, on paper, it should be good, like reclaiming Mandalore that fulfills the Clone Wars. At the same time, I just don't think it was executed that well. So I'd put an A tier overall. But yeah.
It's really
With
funny.
that being said, that means that with all of that, we should balance it out at a mid to high S.
Well, but that problem with that is we still have one S plus tier, and are we going to look ahead here and see one that's better?
I see 2 that I would argue could be an S plus.
I see one that is better, but I don't think you guys are going to agree with me.
I know which one yours is, and Mike, I do agree.
Interesting, but I don't feel that
earlier. I agree with you.
Well, here's the thing. It's funny to me that Morgan, you love the Clone Wars so much. I see Mando season 3 as just a continuation of the Clone Wars, but that's just whatever. That's just how I see it. I think the final battle is almost like it's out of the Clone Wars. I feel like my other S plus is going to be Ahsoka, and I disagree with myself right now because if you're combining all 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, it's better than Ahsoka. So it's 3 seasons versus 1 again. So I don't know.
But what tier, if you had to just take Mando season 3, what tier would you put that in?
Mando season 3?
Yeah.
I'd probably put it in a low A, high B.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
And then season 2 would be S plus, and season 1 would be either high S or maybe even S plus. So I think you could tell me, yes, that it would be an S, high S, and I would agree with you. But because we only have one left, is there anything left on this list that is better than 3 seasons of Din and Grogu?
Do we absolutely have to do 5? Can we do 4? Like, wasn't the rule that we can't do more than 5?
It's the max that we can put in. We don't have to do just 5. We can do
We
4.
don't have to do 5. That's true.
Just
That
saying.
is true.
It's just we can't go over 5 is the only thing that I
Yeah.
said.
I take it. Hey, democracy.
I love
S.
democracy, and I love the Republic.
So I say S. S.
I think you
S.
should just no. It'd be funny if you say that every time, and it's just like
All right,
yeah.
after
So-
every vote. Oh,
S-
also speaking of which,
Do we want
Let's-
to? Where in S do we want to put it? Above Rogue One or below Rogue One? That's kind of where I'm at.
I'd
Above.
be down for above.
Above, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, above Rogue One.
Oh, also, I just remember we still have the 600 characters we still got to rank for this.
Yeah. I don't think we're getting to that today.
No. Oh, are we doing a part 2? I'd so be down.
I think we'd have to because we're not gonna
Yeah,
finish this anytime.
We're almost at 2.5 hours. My computer's getting low on percent, so we're definitely gonna have to reschedule a part 2 to do the characters.
Oh my gosh, yes,
There you
that
go.
would be so much fun. Maybe I can
There you
even live stream it this time.
There you go.
Mm.
All right, so the Book of Boba Fett is next, and I feel like I gotta sort of chime in here because I know it's gonna be a very divided thing. I don't see it as an S. I'll put it that way. I honestly probably don't even see it as an A, unless maybe low A. But Book of Boba Fett to me is way overhated. Way overhated. I think a lot of people misremember the show and don't go back and watch it. The reason for all the wants to rule with respect stuff and beta Fett or whatever you want to call it, the reason for all that is because he had this near-death experience in the Sarlacc pit, and then he comes out of it and trains or gets experience with the Tusken Raiders. So he has this sort of life-changing, altering event happen to him, and he becomes a different man. So it's not the same Boba Fett that you know and love from the original trilogy. So all the fans who were hoping and expecting that were let down because it's not the same guy. If you want that, you want that version of Boba Fett, you're going to have to do a prequel story about him during the time of the Old Republic original trilogy or before the original trilogy. So you got the Boba Fett that you got because you went on this crazy arc to character development, character development. But I still say From the Desert Comes a Stranger, episode 6 of the Book of Boba Fett is one of, if not the, but I'd say one of, the single greatest live action episodes of Star Wars content we've ever received.
No,
Yeah,
that's
I
like
wouldn't
really
agree.
valid.
That's very valid. Oh,
So I'd put it at like a high B.
I agree. High B.
I don't know. Honestly, I would be down for putting it in B, but I don't really view it as the Book of Boba Fett show. I viewed it as Mandalorian season 2.5.
Yeah.
The show itself had a lot of potential with Croissant and all that. I like to call him Croissant because his name kind of is similar. And so it had potential. I understand why they did what they did with Boba Fett, but I don't know. I feel like they made him too goofy when he should be more of the type of guy who's like, you get in my way, I will kill you. Like, that's the Boba Fett I'm used to. The Boba Fett we saw at the end of Mando season 2, that I was like, whew, if this is how it's going to be for the Book of Boba Fett, this is going to be awesome. I feel like they didn't do his character enough justice. I love Boba Fett. He's one of my favorite characters. Him and Jango are really interesting to me because it's Mandalorians. And there are aspects of the Book of Boba Fett that I really did enjoy, like the Luke scenes and the Mandalorian scenes. But then when we look at the Boba Fett scenes, they were kind of mid, which isn't good when your show's called the Book of Boba Fett. I'd be willing to put it in a low B, but honestly, I really want to like the show. I really do. It missed a lot of the marks. Yeah, like someone just said, the Tusken stuff in it was good, but it kind of drew me out of the immersion of Star Wars. Like you had to ride a speeder like a bantha. I don't know. It was good. I'd give it a low B. Above
Well,
Solo, that's for sure.
Like I said, it's not the same Boba Fett. It's just not. And
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
that's
I
clear.
understand what you're saying.
So it's this whole different character because he died. He pretty much died in the Sarlacc pit, got brought back to life by the Tuskens, brought in as a Tusken, raised as a Tusken, learned from the Tuskens, and he's a completely different guy. When he shows up in the Mandalorian season 2, the reason he's so badass, I think, through the Mando season 2 and not in Book of Boba Fett is because of the Empire. I think he has a resentment towards the Empire, but that's just
I could
That's what I
totally
said.
see where you're coming from with that. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense if we're looking at it from that point of view. But that's still, I don't know. I was just kind of hoping for more of a BA Boba Fett, some
Yeah,
guy
I get it.
who goes all across Tatooine and all the other Outer Rim worlds and just goes to the crime syndicates like the Black Sun, the remains of Crimson Dawn, and the Pikes and all that, and just kill their leaders and just assume control over them. That would have been very cool to see.
It will be cool to see if they ever do a Book of Boba Fett season 2, or we see Boba again in like Mando and Grogu or whatever. It will be cool to see how they rework it, because obviously they've seen what the fans are saying. They see that the fans don't really like that version of Boba, and they did like what they saw in Mando season 2. And even Tamara Morrison says, "I want to do more badass things." So I wonder if they'll sort of like reverse, or at least give them an opportunity to be more badass. I don't know.
Oh yeah. One question I need to ask: the Blue Bounty Hunter. What are your thoughts on Cad Bane in the show?
Oh,
Yes.
that's a
I
good
need to know.
question. So, I think in the 6th episode, which Mike just said the name of, what's it called?
From the desert comes a stranger.
Yeah. I'm that stranger, by the way. But
Yes, you are. Yes,
yeah,
you are.
yeah. So he was amazing in that episode. I mean, maybe his appearance isn't accurate to the Duros in A New Hope. I don't really care, right? He was really dope there. He killed them without hesitation at the end. That was awesome. Well, he didn't kill Cobb Vanth, but the other guy. And then in the next episode, I liked him for the most part for everything up until he died. Because if they had like another 5 minutes in there where it really seemed like a fair duel and like a shoot off or something, or actually, built him up in the show and then just have him be in there for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Then I think they could have had Boba Fett kill him because Boba Fett is the main character of the show. It just kind of works in the story. But the fact that he's like, destroying Boba Fett the whole time, and then he's just like, "Oh, plot armor! I'm gonna knock you off me and then kill you immediately." It's like, bro, what?
But
So-
is Cad Bane even dead though? Because I don't think his death was confirmed.
A
No,
lot of-
I can confirm. I actually talked with Cad Bane. He's still alive.
I knew it.
Nice. That's huge.
That was his heart monitor beeping as
Yeah.
Boba
Yep.
Fett walked away.
Mhm.
It wasn't just a bomb.
So for me, Cad Bane is my favorite bounty hunter in Star Wars. So shout out
Agreed.
to, yeah, exactly. So seeing him in live action was so cool. Like you said, in his initial appearance in From the Desert Comes a Stranger, it's so badass. And then in the finale, he's good too, but he dies too quickly. Even if he's not dead, doesn't matter. He dies too quickly. Like he should have been in more of the show. I think probably like episode 3 should have been his introduction, and then maybe tease to him for the rest of the season. And yeah, don't kill him off. I guess after an episode and a half.
It's like if
lightsaber wounds, he'll be fine.
it's like if Darth Maul in the Phantom Menace was introduced the scene before Duel of the Fates, and then he died there. That's like essentially what happened in that show.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
That
Yeah.
would change a lot of things.
Yeah.
It'd be called just Duel of Confusion.
Tool of confusion. Who is this guy?
Who is he? Why is he dead? What is this a message? What's
All right, well,
going on?
we gotta rank this Book of Boba Fett.
I'm giving it a
C tier
B.
for me personally.
I'd say low B.
Yeah, I
High
give it
C.
Now, do we want to put it in front of Solo or do we want to keep it behind Solo?
I'd say behind Solo. Me personally.
Behind.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. All right, Kenobi's an interesting one. I want to hear your takes, but I'll give you mine very
Ooh.
briefly. I think the finale, the rematch of the century, is great. It's fantastic. It's what I expected. It's what I wanted. But the first 5 episodes are not. Maybe episode 5, the flashbacks, the Vader vs. Reva, where he just absolutely messes with her, pulls down the ship from the sky. Great. But the first 4 episodes were just not what I wanted. I think it should have been a movie. It was supposed to be a movie. Should have been a movie. Should have stayed a movie. or at least maybe like a 3-episode show. Like it had just too much fluff almost that it didn't need. But having said that, that finale is incredible. So I'd probably put it around the same area as Boba Fett, like B-ish area. But go ahead. I want to hear you
I
guys take.
can for sure see that. For me, I was very disappointed in Obi-Wan Kenobi. I felt like just when it came out, Obi-Wan Kenobi should have been a slam dunk for Lucasfilm. It should have been the best show for everybody. But one thing that bothered me throughout the whole show is they could not hold a camera straight. They were shaking that camera all over the place. Like it ticked me off to no end that they could not hold a camera straight. But I kind of agree with Mike around the Boba Fett level. But because Obi-Wan is one of my favorite characters, I'd want to put it above Boba Fett.
Are you okay if I go next time?
Who cares? Go.
Okay. So I guess Ty died or something. But,
Yeah, Ty's gone.
yeah.
that sucks.
I'm what
yeah.
remains.
Well, oh well. So going along,
You're
Mike.
next one.
Okay, Mike, you said that the final duel to show off rematch of the century was really well done. I agree. The duel, the flashback duel was also really good. And then with what Ike said about the shaky cam, I just think the directing in the whole show was like bad, bro. Because everyone always talks about the writing on these things. You know, everyone loves to jump on the bandwagon, like, oh, the writing was bad. Okay, Deborah Chow, the director of this, I'm sure she has some good stuff. I think the stuff she directed in The Mandalorian was pretty good, but like the cinematography, the camera work, just like I don't know, the way that they portrayed everything in the show, I just thought it was really lazy, I guess is the best way of putting it. So it's not a diss at her as a person. I just don't think she did a good job on that show personally. Like I feel like she could have done better. I'm sure she has done better before. And yeah, I think it was a really disappointing show for me, but it does have some really high highs. I think Reva is a really bad character that drags a lot of stuff down. Even in the finale, I think whenever they cut to Reva, I was like, go back. It was so interesting, and I don't want to see this. So I don't know. I think Reva could have been an interesting character, but I didn't like her in the show. And yeah, overall, I don't even know what tier I'd give it. Like maybe a D tier feels kind of harsh, but it's so maybe like low C, but I don't know. That's about where I am. I thought it was pretty disappointing. Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
Ty doesn't want to give his input on this one, I guess. So we're gonna have
No,
to.
sorry. I
there
was actually in the bathroom. My bad.
All
Are
right.
you good?
Yeah. All right. I came in when you were talking about the cinematography. That is the first thing I will talk about. I absolutely hated the camera. Why was it so shaky? Why was everything so dark? I can't see a thing in that show. Like you said, the final episode was amazing. That was the duel of the century. It was the duel of the fates. The fact is, I couldn't tell what was going on. The camera was too shaky. It was way too dark. The planet itself was so bland. I hated it.
So
and
where
then
would you put it?
Well, let me talk about the other things first. Because I'm a very critical person when it comes to things I'm really passionate about. So I love Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. Darth Vader is probably my second favorite character, and Obi-Wan's either my fourth or third. And so it really pains me to say this, but I'm going to give it a D tier. I hated Reva. I hated what they did to Obi-Wan. I just can't believe that Obi-Wan would give up on the Jedi. A Jedi survivor came to him, and he let him die. That's not my Obi-Wan. Hashtag not my Obi-Wan. And so and we get to see Fortress Inquisitorius, but the Inquisitors don't look how they did in the shows, like the fifth brother. He looked nothing like him. Same with the Grand Inquisitor. Then again, it does come down to the budget. They had a very low budget for the movie or for the show, only 90 million. So yes, we could use that as an excuse, but it doesn't excuse the fact that overall, it was just really a mid show. I just did not like it.
I agree with you in all aspects except for the Kenobi thing. I can see Obi-Wan doing that. It's the same thing Yoda did. It's the same thing Luke did.
Well, Yoda was an old hermit, so he's a frog too.
True. So where are we ranking it?
I'd say D.
Well, we have
Me
two
personally,
Ds
I'd
and
rank
two
D.
Ds, so C.
I'd
we
say
have two Ds.
yeah, I'd say a C is fine. I can live with
Where
that.
in C tier are we thinking then? Because
Oof.
I think it's much better than both the sequel movies and the Clone Wars movie.
Well, there you go, right there. I think it's better than
I can agree with that.
Tales of the Empire too.
I put it at the
You
very
think it-
bottom of C tier, if not D tier, but that's just me. Not
That's
like I have
over.
any hot takes or anything, guys.
No,
Nope, not at
definitely
all.
No, no.
So where are we thinking then? If we have a couple
I
of
guess
low C.
low C.
Low C or mid C, I guess.
How about like, but above the sequels, but below the Clone Wars movie?
Sounds good
All
to
right,
me.
we can do that. The next one is Ahsoka. I would like to start on this one if there's no.
Go for it.
So Ahsoka is the project I was saying that I thought was S plus. I really, really liked Ahsoka. I did not think that there was adult episode in Ahsoka. I felt like every episode brought something to the table where we're gonna get to Andor or Skeleton Crew next, where those both had episodes that weren't good, in my opinion, or had filler episodes that were trying to get to a bigger point. I feel like Ahsoka had great episodes all the way across. So I know we have one S plus left, and I know Mike really likes Ahsoka, and what is probably going to put it in S plus or top of S. So I'm around there too, bottom of S plus or top of S.
I'll go next to sort of climb onto that. If there's anything on this list I put above Revenge of the Sith, it's this show. From start to finish, it is the best show that there is, best single season that there is. There's no filler episodes. Even Mando season 2, which is a masterpiece, has its filler episodes. There's none in this show. From start to finish, it's got it all. It's got the introduction of my favorite cast, which is the Rebels crew, the Ghost crew. It's the continuation of Thrawn and Ezra going away to Peridia. It's introducing brand new lore to a brand new galaxy. I guess, adding on to the Purgles, where they go, where they reside from, where they go to die, I guess. The Night Sisters, where they came from. It continues the Mortis arc, something that was sort of like a one-off thing in the Clone Wars, one of the best arcs ever. It continues that. It sets up season 2 perfectly. It sets up Thrawn as the heir to the Empire perfectly. It gives us Luke versus sorry, not Luke. Anakin versus Ahsoka in the World Between Worlds. The World Between Worlds again. Clone Wars flashbacks. Vader. Anakin's Force Ghost for the first time since '83. It's a masterpiece from start to finish. I put it S plus, and I might even put it at the top of S plus, but I know it's not going to stay there. So I would, I will concede to the democracy of the room.
I love democracy. For me though, the first time I was watching it, I loved the show, but I wasn't the biggest fan of it. So originally I was going to give this a B. But then, like all the points you made, the Mortis continuation, Anakin versus Ahsoka, we get to see the Siege of Mandalore. We get to see what happened to Ezra and Thrawn on Peridia. We get to introduce to a new galaxy. We get to potentially see Abeloth in season 2. All of those things, and also the fights were just incredible in general. I love the actor of Baylan Skoll. He did amazing. Rest in peace. All of those reasons, I have to give it an S plus. I love the show.
I didn't even mention Baylan and Shin. Yeah, Baylan and Shin, great new characters. So you got everything you need in a good Star Wars show. It's great new characters,
fun.
great legacy characters, great story from start to finish. The World Between Worlds sequence with the Shadow Warrior is the best episode. Other than maybe From the Desert Comes a Stranger is the only argument I'd be made. But it's the best episode, and around it, it adds new lore. It has new characters. It has great legacy characters. It has a great story, and it sets up what's to come next. That's all the things you need in a good Star Wars show, and it has it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'd give it an S plus.
But
not above Rebels, but definitely S plus.
But Morgan hasn't spoken yet.
Oh, very true.
I give Ahsoka a low B.
Typical Morgan.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, you barely met them in this
The energy in the room is like here, and Morgan's like,
Morgan, you're making this so
I'm saying, bro, like,
we were
get this kid out of here. Nah, he so I will say I was gonna consider high C, but then a few of the points you made actually made me like it a little more. Balin Skull was great. Ray Stevenson, that was the actor. He did a great job. Rest in peace, of course. Yeah, him and Shin Hati or whatever, they're both really cool new characters, and I love the orange lightsabers. Blue and orange are my favorite colors. So it's cool to see an orange lightsaber. Obviously, that's a really important reason to like or dislike a show. But yeah, no, that was the new characters are really good. The lightsaber fights were really cool. Seeing all the Clone Wars live action stuff was amazing. Even if it's a little bit fan servicey, you could argue at the same time it's good. So like, who cares? My only problem with the show, actually, I have a couple things. So one is that I just didn't think the last few episodes really landed it for me. Like I enjoyed it, the story they were going towards, and then the end. It's just I think it's more of a subjective thing, but I just didn't really feel it. If that makes any sense.
I get it.
Also, the idea, the end of Rebels when we have Ezra kind of disappearing, and that ends off that. While for you, Mike, you liked Ahsoka because that was like a continuation of the story, which I can see that. For me personally, it kind of, I wouldn't say ruins, but it just makes the ending of Rebels a little bit less impactful. That the fact that I know Ezra comes back and it's kind of all reversed, but it is interesting. I'll give you that. So it might just not have grown on me enough yet. And then what else is got? I think that's about it. But yeah, it's just overall not quite my favorite. But I do think it gets a little too much hate. Like I know like Star Wars Theory and I think some guys like that. Or actually he might have liked it, but there's definitely some hate for it. And I don't know. I think it was pretty good overall, but not as much as y'all liked it. But yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. And honestly, that's probably the majority's take on it. I think my real love for Ahsoka comes from the character of Ahsoka from the Clone Wars. My absolute love, as I clearly made clear earlier, for Star Wars Rebels. And this being the continuation of that and the first live action appearance of all those characters and all that stuff. So I understand that my opinion is probably not one that's shared by most, but hey, that's what this is all about here.
Yeah, and also one other thing I have on that is like Ahsoka in this show, I just thought her acting was kind of flat and like the direction of her character. So that's just me though.
Yeah,
I kind
get
of agree
that.
with you on that.
Yeah, I get that.
So I'm thinking S plus for this, right? Low S plus.
Well, we all said
there's
S
three
plus,
pluses and
but Morgan
a low
says
B.
a low B. So we
Ah,
gotta
Come
gotta
on, Morgan.
even out. We'll even out. We don't need 5 S pluses.
You're right. Andor deserves that 5th S plus spot.
We'll talk about that. But so thinking with the B and 3 S pluses, what would that balance out? High A, low S?
I'd say low S.
Low S. Low
Yeah,
S.
go low S.
Because I mean it's
All right.
more of y'all than me. So like yeah.
True. All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, so I'll give my Andor pitch first. Andor, I don't see it as an S plus. Maybe you all say S plus,
What?
and that might come down.
Yeah, I don't
I see it as an S. I see it as an S, probably a high S. The first 3 episodes are slow. That's why a lot of people actually didn't watch it, and a lot of people didn't watch it in general. It's got a very low viewer rating. I think season 2 is going to be better. I think combined season 1 and 2 is going to make the show as a whole a really, really good one and maybe push it to the S plus. But for now, I see it as an S tier. I love the arcs. I love the prison arc. I love the final arc. I love Aldani actually a lot more than most. But with that, you guys can talk.
Ooh, I feel like I gotta talk for this one. Andor is I love that show so much. Yeah, where do I begin? The pacing of it, yes, it is slow. I will give it to you guys. The pacing is incredibly slow. But then again, do we always need fast-paced shows? Some of the greatest shows out there are just slower paced. It takes build up to get to the climax, and the climax usually is worth the build up. Like let's Lord of the Rings, for example. Some of the movies have a slow build up, but the climax is totally worth it. Same with well, no, not Marvel. There's fights all throughout Marvel. But the thing is, like, Andor, I love that show. It was so dark and gritty. It gave us a whole new look on the Empire and the ISB. the ISB, even in the Outlaws, was the director Barash. That was crazy to me. Where Darth Vader and all that. I feel like the ISB is a very interesting part of the Empire because it's something that you wouldn't expect, but you would expect to see it at the same time. And also, I feel like they gave Star Wars a very realistic but also unrealistic feel. Coruscant looked great. The I forgot the planet name that Andor lived on, but that looked really good. Despite Ferrix, yes, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Despite what Star Wars Theory said with all the bricks and nails, I still think it looked really good. So is that an attack on Star Wars Theory? No, I like living, but the fact is, like, it was good. I liked it. I feel like it was slow. My dad isn't the biggest fan of it, but from a story point of view, it's peak. I absolutely loved it. And I guess Mike's back. So yes, to sum it up, Andor's top, and yeah, I'm right.
Okay, so that's where Ty's at. Morgan, what
Wow.
did you say about it?
So I like it about as much as Rogue One, and I think I gave Rogue One like a high A, probably. That's not what we gave it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I like Andor a little bit more, and I would maybe if I rewatched it, I'd be willing to give it a low S. Definitely not S plus. That's just because I don't really like the Disney Plus era, like I said earlier. Anyway,
Really?
well, I mean, that's not a good reason.
You
obviously.
don't say.
I'm just yeah, but the Andor I think was an incredible show. Again, like you said, Ty, the grittiness is like really great. It's even more gritty than Rogue One. It's a very dark, more realistic look on Star Wars, and I love that. I just think it makes it so much more visceral personally. And yeah, no, I think Andy Serkis playing whoever he played, where he's like, I can't swim. Yeah. That was great. The finale was great. The whole heist on Aldhani, that was great. And yeah, no, overall, I think it's an amazing show. Probably the best Disney Plus show to date over The Mandalorian. Yeah.
Well, I was in a weird spot because I hadn't watched Andor in like a long time, probably over a year, and I rewatched it fairly recently, and it did get, I think, misremembered in my head, and it was a lot better than I even remember it being. So, yeah. I'd say mid high S, but again, we'll see where it comes down to, I guess.
So Andor is for sure an amazing show that Star Wars put out. I feel like it was very dark compared to a lot of other shows, even compared to like Mandalorian and Ahsoka, which is why I think I liked it so much. I don't think it's S+ by any means, but as Morgan was saying, I do think that it's a little bit better than Rogue One, even where I put not better than Rogue One. I'd put it below Rogue One. In the tier list, I would put it below Rogue One in S.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, is that all around agreed?
Yeah,
I'm down with that.
All right.
I can't help but notice that we are missing Young Jedi Adventures on this list, and
Oh, how could you forget that? Those are peak.
and Star Wars Resistance actually too. Two shows
I also forgot
Star Wars
Understandable. We can
Resistance.
skip those.
I've never seen either of those. So
Me
I
neither.
forgot Visions too, but I know how
I've
Oh, yeah,
actually
I'm not a
seen
Visions
Star Wars
fan.
Resistance, so I feel like I have you guys seen it? Because
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of episodes.
No.
Okay, well let me give you this gist.
no.
It sucks. That's the overall
you go.
gist of it. The characters
we
are
going-
unlikable. The plot is bad. It takes place in the worst era of the sequels. So, for all of our sakes, I'm gonna give it a D because it's a terrible show.
are we going Skeleton Crew before Acolyte?
Yes,
Yeah,
you'll see why.
But what are we
Agreed that
talking
we're
about
gonna
right now?
have a debate.
Skeleton Crew.
Oh.
Skeleton Crew.
Resistance or Acolyte? Or
Resistance
Skeleton Crew?
sucks, so we give that a D automatically.
Now we're talking Skeleton Crew.
Now we're
Yeah.
talking Skeleton Crew.
Wait, real quick.
Oh,
I have
Morgan.
not finished the show yet.
No!
Oh.
Yeah.
What episode are you on? What episode?
I'm on like episode 6. Yeah.
Dude,
that's
Dude,
Zubat
good.
Notwood is actually Wim's father. Yeah.
He says, "No,
Watch
I
this.
am your father."
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Okay,
sounds
so
anime.
we got to talk about it without talking about the final 2 episodes. I get it. Okay.
All right.
So,
All right.
having said that, I think Skeleton Crew is very similar to like Mando season 1, where it's its own story. It really just it's got the 4 kids that are really great new characters. It's got Jod, who's a really great new character. The acting is really great in it. The directing's really great in it. It's got some of the best directors around. It picked up obviously John Watts and Chris Ford are the showrunners, but you got Bryce Dallas Howard. You got the guys the Daniels who won the Academy Award for Best Picture. You got all that stuff. So it's really a well put together show, but it's a brand new story. It adds brand new lore. It's very similar to what I talked about with with The Mandalorian season 1 and kind of with Ahsoka, where it's adding brand new lore and brand new characters and stuff like that. So I don't have it anywhere close to S+, but I would put it in that high A-ish range. I think that's sort of where I'd put it. It's a really, really good show, and it stands alone on its own on an island. And that's really hard to do.
Without including the last 2 episodes of Skeleton Crew, without spoiling anything for Morgan, I would say that I agree with the top of A rating, especially with the ending of Skeleton Crew. Without saying anything more than that, I would just say top of A.
Ooh, well, I finished the show. I liked it. The childness of it, I like that. I was surprised to find that I was connected, but I enjoyed it. Jude Norwood, I liked that he was a pirate who, well, I can't say what happened. I can't say what he is because it spoils it. But to see what he is really was interesting, and it really opened up a whole can of womp rats if you get the reference. So it just opens up a whole list of new things you can look at. And the whole thing with Aten and all the other failed experiments, it's crazy.
It is
And
really
then-
cool, and it adds so much to the lore of Star Wars. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and then
Can't say I remember no Aten.
Exactly.
I can't say. Yeah, and SM33, I love that. He was so cool.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And
So without spoiling anything, I think we should go past this quick before somebody does. So I'd say
Yeah.
a pretty high A. Ty, where you?
oh yeah,
where you
I
at?
definitely give it a high A. This was a good show.
There you go.
Above everything in A, just put it above everything, or where are we looking?
I'd say put it above tail. I don't know. Is it above?
I'd say above
Tails?
Tails. Yeah, I would
I'd
say.
say it was definitely good.
Oh yeah, that's where I was.
I'm just so sad it got a lot of low viewership because it was generally a good show.
I know. Yeah, it is. It is bummer.
I guess that brings us to what I'm
Okay.
about to say.
Brings
It's
us
'cause
to
of
We
the
are gonna
accolades.
do this, but I also promised my sister that she could come talk about Acolyte.
Yes.
Just know it is going to be it's going to be a trigger warning for you, Ty. Just to let you know.
Let me just say this first. I hated the
I'm
accolade.
so
just
excited.
gonna
I'm
put that
so
out there.
excited.
I
I'm
hated the
so
accolade.
excited.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh no, she returned somehow.
See, I agree with her first take, and I got a feeling I'm going to agree with this one too.
Oh boy. Should
Should
you guys start
I
saying
don't.
why
I
you
don't.
love it?
I don't think so. But
ahead.
I am actually one of the rare Star Wars fans who actually loves Acolyte. When it came out, love it.
No.
No, people hate on the Acolyte. I have no clue why they hate on it. It was a great show. Sure, was some of the things a little wonky and shouldn't have been in there? Sure, but that's with everything. You're not ever going to get something that you 100% agree with 100% everything you want because you weren't one of the directors. Acolyte, in my opinion, should be at least S tier, but I know no way anyone on here is going to actually agree with that. So please do not hate me. That is my opinion on the Acolyte.
Ooh.
This is a great take, and here's why. Do I think it's an S tier? Absolutely not. But it's a great take for a few reasons. The Acolyte gets a lot of hate for a lot of reasons, but the majority of it is because of Leslie Headland and because of what the actors were saying in interviews. It was a lot of that stuff that people really, really disconnected from, really, really just hated the actors themselves and the creators of the show. That has nothing to do with what the show is actually about and the characters that we see in the story that is told, because the story that is told is an incredible one. The lightsaber duels are the best we've seen since Revenge of the Sith. Kymir is one of the greatest characters we've ever seen in Star Wars.
for
We don't
sure.
even know his freaking name. Soul's arc is incredible. The actor who played him, not even gonna try and say his name because I got some crap on my live stream for. He did incredible. It was his first time speaking English. It was incredible. Osha and May might be a sort of a sore spot in the show, but I think Osha's arc from start to finish is spectacular. It's her fall to the dark side, and it's great. But having said that, I think The Acolyte is a good show. Do I think it's the best show of all time? No. Do I think it's terrible? No, not at all. I'd say high B, low A.
That's
All right,
exactly
yeah.
what I was thinking as well. As low B, not low B, high B, low A. It was really good. Episode 5, I don't think all the haters don't talk about it enough, how good the lightsaber duel was in episode 5. It had my jaw dropped the whole time. I thought that Yord and Jecky's death were performed amazingly, even though I really did like Jecky as a character. Every time, I've probably rewatched that fight probably 4 or 5 times, and every time that Yord gets his neck snapped, I'm always in shock. It's that good. So high B, low A is where I'd put it.
Oh
And
boy.
now, actually no, I don't want to hear Ty yet. I want to hear Morgan
Wow.
first.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I guess
I
I'll
can
read the
fix
call
this
now.
for you, Mike.
Morgan gonna say. So I'd say high C tier.
That's not too bad. That's not
yeah.
that's I like it. I like it.
Bro, I did not hate it. I did not love it. The lightsaber fights, you are completely right. They are the best since Revenge of the Sith. Like the choreography
It's so
was
badass.
really good. Because the Kenobi show had the like intensity and the actors and the drama, but I don't feel like the choreography was that good there.
I think a lot of that was because of Vader. They didn't want to make Vader go too crazy because Vader in the originals is slow. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean basically everything y'all said. I don't know if I'd put Chimere as like one of the best Star Wars characters, but I guess I'm not like completely understanding his arc and his story with that. But I like the whole like red herring where it's like you think it's this guy and then he turns out to be the Sith. That's pretty cool. Then I think I agree. Soul I really liked, and I think the actor was like he felt like Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon to me, which I really liked. Yeah, I think it was a very interesting movie. It actually took place like before the prequels. Everything else Disney era is either in the Imperial time period or close to the sequels. This was actually back then. Ki-Adi-Mundi was in it, bro. Come on, even if he shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think I didn't really like Osha or May. I like you said, Osha did have a good arc a little bit. I just don't think the acting was that great for her personally. And yeah, it wasn't a terrible show. I definitely had a lot of problems with it, but I think it had some good stuff too, and it was enjoyable to watch. So
yeah. And before we get to Ty, because I can't wait to hear it, the person that needs to be mentioned, because we mentioned him earlier in the stream, is Darth Plagueis. Seeing Darth Plagueis for the first time ever in canon after hearing about him only once ever from Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith was awesome.
No, for sure.
Does this mean I go on now?
This means you get to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I'm feeling very cornered here. It's a 3v1. I've had worse odds before. All right. Let me take off my my Jedi robes for this. Let me start with the things I liked about this show before I get on to why this show actually sucks. Chimere, I liked him. He was a really good character. I feel like he had a lot of potential, and his potential wasn't wasted. He was good. Jedi Master Soul. Do all the hate. Yo, okay, man. If you're going to say do all the hate on my channel, I'll just leave. Soul, I loved his character. I don't like that he died because I feel like he had so much potential. His acting was amazing. The lightsaber fights, what can I say? They're beautiful. They're perfect. I wouldn't say they're definitely not as good as Revenge of the Sith, but they are nearly flawless. I loved them. How they used cortosis in it. That was beautiful. I love that.
That was awesome.
So yeah, I will agree with you on that. But now that I got the things I liked out of the show, let's get on to why I hate it. You already talked about how the actors, and all that stuff. That is one of my primary reasons I hate the show. Because that feels like, okay, well, it's kind of like a hate project now. They're not doing it because they like the fans. But for the show itself, it did not make sense because it's called The Acolyte, which means it's taking the Sith. It's supposed to be a Sith-driven story. But when we look at the show, it's focusing on the Jedi, not the Sith. Yes, there are Sith aspects with Chimere and Plagueis, but they are not the main focus. The main focus is trying to track down a rogue assassin who's killing Jedi Masters, which, I'm not going to lie, had me really interested in. But then when the huge mystery was revealed of why she's doing it, I was like, that's the lamest answer ever. She's mad that Soul killed her mother, who is turning into a demon. I would do the exact same thing. If someone's turning into a demon, I'd probably kill them too. Just saying. I don't like how they went about killing the Jedi Masters either, because these are Jedi Masters. They have experience. And yet they fell to someone who doesn't have a lot of training. It didn't make sense to me. It drew me out of the thing. And then for Plagueis, I did not like him in the show. Let me explain why before everyone starts hating on me. The thing is, what was the point of having him in there? Really, what was the point? When you look at it from a story-wise, he feels incredibly shoehorned in. Yes, he looked good. I will say he looked phenomenal. Except he's in for 1 second. What was the point of bringing him in? It shows that Plagueis was not following the rule of two. Because if this takes place 100 years before the Phantom Menace, we are believing that Darth Tenebris is alive and Plagueis. But now there's also Chimere and May. They're also alive. And also Osha. That's 5 Darksiders. And then Plagueis takes on Sidious while Plagueis is alive. So that could be up to 3 to 5 Sith alive at the same time. It breaks the illusion of the rule of two. So it doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, I got counter arguments for a few of those things. Hang on.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me hear your counter arguments
Yep,
first, and I'll counter them.
Okay. So the first part was going back to May and Osha and how the show was supposed to be a Sith-centered show, and it wasn't really about that. So it's called The Acolyte because it's about the acolytes of the Sith.
Yes.
And that first starts out as May, and she's murdering all the Jedi. But the real acolyte by the end of the show is Osha, and Osha's the main character of the entire show. She starts out as a good guy and ends up being a bad guy. But the other point you made of Plagueis and all these Sith being around, let's not forget that the second on the list we currently have right now is the Clone Wars.
That is very
Clone
true.
Wars had Palpatine, Dooku, Ventress, Savage Opress, Mace, what the hell? Darth Maul.
I knew he was a Sith.
That's 5 right there. Maybe I'm
okay.
even forgetting one. I'm not too sure.
No,
but that's
you
5
do
right
have a
there,
good
all
point.
alive at the
Okay.
exact same time.
Okay.
So, yes, it's not the rule of two, but also Tenebris isn't confirmed to be around by now anyway. Plagueis is a Mun. Mun can live up to 200 years old, especially with Force abilities.
Okay. Here's what I have to say to that, though. The reason it bugged me is because at this time zone, the Jedi are supposed to have no clue that the Sith even are around. They even exist.
True.
When Ki-Adi-Mundi, especially Ki-Adi-Mundi, when he finds out that the Sith have returned, not the Sith have returned. Exactly, the Sith didn't return, but there's someone killing Jedi.
Yes.
And then a group of Jedi go missing and are all killed. I know it's covered up by saying Soul did it,
Yes.
but that still should be an indicator the dark side is still present. So it kind of breaks up with what they say in the prequels.
Well, that's the whole last scene. That's the whole explanation. Is Vanestra Rho telling the Jedi Council or the whatever the council that's created to watch over the Jedi or whatever, telling them what happened, telling them that it was all Soul. It was a rogue Jedi who made a mistake.
But you'd imagine that some of the Jedi would be able to sense what's going on. These are Yoda. This is Yoda we're talking about, possibly Plo Koon.
Yes, the same Yoda that allowed Palpatine to rise to power as the Chancellor of the Republic and allow Anakin to fall to the dark side as the chosen one. This is the same Jedi Order that was so flawed that they allowed Order 66. They created an army that killed all of them. They battled alongside for a 3-year-long war in the Clone Wars alongside the murderers that would kill all of them at the end of it.
Here's what I have to say to that. This is a different Jedi Order than we're looking at from the Acolyte time zone to the prequels. The Jedi we're looking at in the Acolyte, those are High Republic Jedi.
Yes.
In this time zone, these Jedi go into the Outer Rim. They created Starlight Beacon to fight against the Nihil and to provide support. This is the Jedi we're taking from. We're not taking the Jedi from the prequels. Those Jedi, yes, they aren't the Jedi we should be seeing. Those are the Jedi who have fallen from the light. The Jedi from the High Republic era, those are the definitions of Jedi. They will go out into the Outer Rim. If they see darkness, they will try to squash it because they want to keep peace. So it doesn't make sense that these types of Jedi would just let this happen and just sweep it under the rug to appease the Senate.
I agree to an extent. Vanessa Rowe is the only character that still exists from that era you're talking about, the High Republic. Those books are still over 150 years before this show takes place. So those are not the Jedi. And the corruption of the Jedi that happens in the prequel trilogy has to start somewhere. It has to not just immediately appear. It has to grow over time. And Vanessa Rowe keeping this a secret, keeping this fact that her former Padawan, or whoever Chimera is to her, is still alive. It is still out there, possibly using the dark side of the Force, keeping that a secret is the corruption that the Jedi have during the prequel trilogy. It's the same thing. And correct me if I'm wrong, I've only read phase 1 of the High Republic books, but they still have those issues. They have Jedi who are falling in love with each other in those books, the attachment issues that they still have in the prequel trilogy. So it's not something that's very new. The Jedi always have those issues because their order is flawed. Just the rules that they have are flawed. And it's what causes Palpatine to rise to power, and it's what causes Anakin to fall to the dark side. Because when Anakin comes to Yoda and says, "My mom's going to die," he goes, "Yeah. Oh, shucks." Like, who cares? And then when Padme is going to die, he doesn't even go to Yoda for that. He goes to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan goes, "Oh, shucks. Who cares?" And that's why he falls to the dark side, because Palpatine gives a shit.
So
then again, Anakin wouldn't have fallen to. I mean, Anakin's main factor was the decisions he made. Like, yeah, he has everything out against him, but if you think about Luke Skywalker, his parents die. He has to be fighting against the Empire. Basically, everything's against him. His friends are constantly like, he thinks they're going to die, and then he makes the right decision.
True.
Like in Return of the Jedi. So if you think about it, Anakin had the same ability as Luke. Maybe not quite as much, but so I still feel like Anakin's biggest thing were his own decisions. But that doesn't really have anything to do with what you're saying, but you just said that.
No, I get what you're saying. But Luke also didn't have Palpatine in his ear growing up. Like, Palpatine throughout the Clone Wars, obviously, is always in Anakin's ear. But we don't even know the time between The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Like, he, of course, says, "We're going to watch your career with great interest," but what does that really mean? Like, Palpatine is a huge part of Anakin falling to the dark side, and so is Ahsoka leaving the Jedi Order. So he sees Qui-Gon Jinn, the first guy that he meets, this father figure to him. He doesn't trust the Jedi Order. He's not even on the council because he doesn't trust them. Then he sees Obi-Wan, who's very, very do the Jedi rules, all that stuff. He sees Count Dooku leave the Jedi Order because he doesn't like what they're doing. He sees Palpatine planting all these seeds that the Jedi are bad and all that stuff. And then his Padawan, his own Padawan, gets framed for something, taken off of the Jedi, out of the Jedi Order, and then she leaves because she sees the flaws in the Jedi Order too. So Anakin gets all these seeds planted in his head, all these figures in his life, these people that are very important to him in his life, and the Jedi didn't care that his mom was going to die or that Padme is going to die.
I gotta disagree with you.
But Palpatine gave him an option. Palpatine gave him the way to save his wife after his mom died, and the Jedi didn't care about it. So it's a lot of aspects that go to Anakin's fall. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Luke didn't have any of that. Luke didn't have any of that.
I gotta kind of disagree with you on that when you say the Jedi didn't care. In the books, I forget which one it is exactly, but in some of the books, it describes how the Jedi wanted to save Padme's or Anakin's mother, but Palpatine himself wouldn't allow the Jedi to go on relief missions to Tatooine. Well, and it also is later revealed that it was Palpatine who orchestrated Shmi's death. Like, that's all Palpatine's saying.
That's true. But the Jedi still didn't allow Anakin to go. And when Anakin comes to Yoda and says, "I'm having visions of my mom dying," whatever, he pretty much just says, "No, go after yourself." He's like, "Nah, you're good."
Yeah, I guess that is true. Yeah, I guess I could see that.
I feel like Yoda's philosophy there arguably was good, but I think the way that he conveyed that to him wasn't good, if that makes sense.
Well, it's the same story told over again. Years before, Sifo Dyas comes to the Jedi Council and says, "I have a vision of the future that there's going to be this big war. We need to have an army ready to go." And they say, "No, we don't. We're good. Nah, you're fine." These Jedi, like Yoda, don't really have this ability, or to an extent, where they can't really see what Anakin's seeing, what Sifo Dyas is seeing. So they really can't sort of understand what they're seeing and understand how they're feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
So Yoda doesn't really understand it. Even with all the experience that he's had, he doesn't get it. It's strange to me in the prequel trilogy that this clone army just arrives. And obviously they have questions about it and whatever, but they just hear that Sifo Dyas did it and they go, okay, cool, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that kind of does. That you do make a lot of good points there.
Thank you.
In regards to other things I don't like about the Acolyte, I'm gonna stay on that for a second.
Go for it.
I did not like the acting for majority of the characters. I like, especially Osha and May. Their acting was really bad. I thought it was very one-sided. Like when we see Osha choking Master Soul, supposedly that is her at her angriest. Yet she has the exact same facial expression. It's really bad. And then when she bleeds the kyber crystal, that makes zero sense. Yes, you could argue that she bled it because she was holding on to the kyber crystal. You could make that argument. But then how does Darth Vader bleed his kyber crystal? He has no hands. You could say, yes, he's using the Force and he was so influenced by the dark side. But why wasn't his lightsaber red when he was slaughtering the younglings or when he was fighting Obi-Wan? It's just, there's things they add into that show that don't make sense in the context of the movies. That lightsaber being one of them.
Again, I counter that by saying that she was touching the lightsaber kyber crystal. If
Yeah.
in obviously you have to, bleeding a kyber crystal is something fairly new to Star Wars canon. It's
That is
I
very
think
true, yes.
2016, something like that in the Vader comics.
Yeah, but you can't
And yeah.
change the lore that's already that we've seen. Like in the movies,
I know,
you
and
can't change what happens in the movies.
I agree, and it's the same.
Or you could argue that if by changing the lore you're making a more interesting story that adds to the greater story of Star Wars and makes it better overall.
Yes,
Not that big of a
but
deal.
Disney changes the lore all the time. So generally speaking, I'm fine with changing the lore if it's nothing too massive. But when Disney changes the lore in practically every show, I get fed up with it. It's like, stick with the story, stick with the lore, stop changing it to fit one show because it screws up everything else.
I still agree with you. I still disagree with you that this changes anything. Her bleeding the kyber crystal is because she's holding the kyber crystal. Anakin was never holding a kyber crystal or holding the kyber crystal in his lightsaber when he's slaughtering the younglings or anything of that sort. And
it's
to
just a
counter argue all these retcons, because there are some changing of the lore going on, like Luke having Yoda's lightsaber and etc. George Lucas did it all the time. You really think them making out in episode 5 was the plan, that they're going to be brother and sister?
Yeah, I see your point there. Yeah. I agree that plot changing has been around forever. It's just back then there was no previous established lore. Well, except for Luke and Leia being siblings and all that. That was already pre-established. There was no major plot points and stories written out that George Lucas retconned often. He did retcon. I'm not going to disagree. He did. But with Disney, they literally retconned the entire story of Luke and his Jedi Order. They retconned the Yuuzhan Vong invasion. They retconned Luke Skywalker's lineage, and they just retconned so many other things. They retconned 1313, a lot of things they retconned. So, yeah.
But none of those things that you mentioned are canon.
Yeah, not anymore because Disney retconned them.
But they were never canon. George Lucas never even saw Legends as canon either.
Those were never canonized.
I guess that's true, but to the majority of the fans, they would view them as canon because the books were written, they were published.
But George Lucas never saw them as canon either. So all the people you're talking about are the George Lucas stans usually, and those people wouldn't see them as canon either. Legends was Legends, and Legends is Legends. Legends is still Legends.
Yeah, I guess I could see your point with this.
Here's the thing: I've counter argued the Acolyte for 8-9 months now, because it's still the case. I get hating the actors, I get hating the creators, I get all that stuff that the interviews are telling, but there is nothing in that show that retcons anything. There's nothing. I've watched it and watched it over again, and there's not a single thing.
I will say this: you personally may not see anything wrong with it. I might, and other people may see different things wrong with it. That's kind of why I think a majority of people don't like the Acolyte, is because to everybody else, it's wrong in different ways and it's right in different ways to a lot of people.
I get not liking the show 100%. I mean, that's fully a subjective thing. Like liking a show, disliking the show. That's what we're talking about today. Obviously, we've had very differing opinions on multiple shows today, but I'm just saying more so
Like the
from
holiday special.
exactly. I'm thinking more so from like a retconning standpoint. There's just no truth to that.
Yeah, I will say talking to you definitely has it doesn't change how I view the show, but it's definitely changed the way I viewed certain aspects of it. I'm not gonna say I like the show. I still absolutely despise it. I still give it an F. But you definitely changed my views on a couple of the things.
Well, I appreciate that, I guess, but that's not what I'm here to do. I like
Yeah,
the
I know,
show,
I know.
and I know you don't like the show, and I say this all the time in my live streams. I did around the Acolyte, I guess. I haven't had to say it lately. Here's the thing: Skeleton Crew was so good because it was beloved by most, and the
Exactly.
outliers felt like outliers. With the Acolyte, it was a very divided thing and almost felt 50-50, or maybe even more swayed towards negativity. And with that, I felt like I was just having to combat, or at least
Yeah, I will agree
fight
with you on
myself out of a hole almost at all times. And what I kept saying at all times was just that. Like, if you come into this live stream hating on the Acolyte, you're not going to hear what I say and come out of it not hating the Acolyte. I'm
Yeah,
not here to change your mind. I'm not here to do anything like that. That's why the goal is to, well, here our goal is to rank these shows, but the goal with like my live streams usually is to just talk about Star Wars. We love Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars. We have differing opinions. We like stuff. We don't like stuff, whatever it may be, but I'm not here to change your mind. So you not liking the Acolyte, I'm not here to change your mind. I just wanted to hear why you didn't like it.
okay. Yeah, I completely understand with it. At the end of the day, it's just my personal opinion. That's
Exactly.
kind of why I don't like talking about the Acolyte on my channel. Just
Yeah.
because it's no matter what, it's gonna divide everybody. People are gonna like
Exactly.
it, people are gonna hate it. And I like debating it for sure, but
Yeah.
I always feel like no matter what I say, people will find a way to counter it, and I might find a way to counter them too. And so
Exactly.
I like debating with it, but at the end of the day, if you like it completely, that's great to you. I personally don't like it. There are things in it I personally think it ruins Star Wars, but other people don't see that.
Yes.
And that's just the way I view Star Wars, which is not the way a lot of people might. And
Exactly.
to bring it back around on what you said, like the Acolyte dividing the fan base, I think that's really just primarily because a lot of people were expecting the show to be different. Like, not people were like Star Theory, for example. He was thinking it was going to be centered around Plagueis and Palpatine. I personally was thinking it was going to be centered around new Sith, yes, but I was more so around Tenebris and Plagueis. That's what I was thinking it was going to be about.
Yeah.
So from the get-go, I was already disappointed in the show that it wasn't what I thought it would be, which I know expectations are the problem, yes,
A lot of
but
times.
you should still try to please the fans when you can, because the fans at the end of the day are what makes Star Wars.
I agree with you. Fully 100% I agree with you. I think they should be making a young Palpatine show right now. I think they should be doing all that stuff that fans want to see. I 100% agree with you. Having said that, expectations are the problem, as Jane said in the chat. It's a big issue. It's an issue I find all the time because I'm trying to speculate about stuff, trying to predict what's coming next, all that stuff. I want to get hyped up as I possibly can. It happened with the Skeleton Crew without spoiling anything. I got my expectations really, really high. Even for the beginning of the show, I got my expectations really, really high to see characters like Hondo, not like that kind of stuff. And did I get let down? Maybe, but the show was still good. So I don't know. It's kind of a thing. Like, do you put your expectations too high and then they get cut down because it's still a good show, but it's not what you wanted? It's a weird thing.
That is true. I will say, when the Acolyte was first announced, I was very excited for it. I thought this was going to be a turning point for Star Wars. And I watched, I was like, this isn't what I thought it would be. But Skeleton Crew, the thing about that is I didn't have high hopes for that show. I was thinking this is going to be some lame kid show.
There
I
you go.
watched it. I was generally enjoyed. I was like, wow, this is fun. This is
So-
good.
There you go. So I wonder if that was the expectation for the Acolyte, because I agree with you. The Acolyte had very high expectations going in. A Sith-centered show, the first one ever. The peak of the Jedi. There's going to be so many Jedi in this show. You're going to have the most amount of lightsabers in the single room since the prequel trilogy, since the Battle of Geonosis. Like, those were the things we were hearing. We were like, holy crap, this is going to be awesome. Expectations were set really, really high, and people were let down. So and the exact opposite happened with Skeleton Crew. People didn't have expectations, so they were really pleased with how it ended, or how it ended up, I guess, the whole show. and maybe that's the issue. Maybe fans in Lucasfilm got our hopes too high for that project, and were let down, and then the opposite happened with Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, I guess that is a very good point to make. So yeah,
There's a lot that goes into this stuff. There's a lot
Yeah,
that goes
for
into
sure.
it.
Oh yeah, 100% for sure.
But now we have to rate the
Oh
Acolyte.
boy, I think, me personally, my opinion doesn't change. I still think it's a D. But if I could compromise for a high C. I could compromise with that.
Okay.
I'm
I
willing
think
to
I
do that as
fell
well.
asleep while you guys were talking, so I kind of forgot where my placement was. I think
you
it
weren't
was
listening
a
intently. You were
Yeah, we
like, oh
talked
my
about it a
god.
lot.
You were like, oh my god, that Mike guy's a genius. This Ty guy's an idiot.
Wow.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding,
Shots
I'm kidding.
fired. Oh my
No,
god.
for real,
Wow.
for
I'll
real.
be leaving
That's
now
real.
if that's how it's gonna be.
I'm kidding, Ty.
I know,
So
you're
we-
all good.
think top of C then? Is that what all that's going to lead to?
I'm
I can
fine
agree
with
with that.
wherever it gets put. Top of C.
Wait a
sounds good to me.
minute. Wait a minute. We need to have a democracy here, y'all.
I love democracy.
So yeah, there you go. Just a Star Wars nerd put this in F tier. I put it in C tier. Mike, you put it in,
I said low A, high B.
and then Kenobi's Corner said
He said something
I said
similar.
high A, low A or high B as well as
Yeah.
Mike.
So I think we're around a C, a mid C.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
For some
Mid
reason,
C
I was
sounds about
thinking
right to me.
you guys put it in S. So
Oh heck no.
It's
Um,
not. It's not that.
I
It's
like
not
it,
quite that.
not
good.
that much. So what are we thinking? Above or below Kenobi? That's kind of where I'm at.
I'd say below Kenobi for me personally. The way I'm viewing it is those two lightsaber fights. The lightsaber fight in episode 5 and then the Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan fight. Those are really the 2 points that are driving it for me personally. And I gotta say, while yes, the Acolyte fight was phenomenal, one of the best things we've seen since Revenge of the Sith, nothing can beat that Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader one, where the line like
Because it's
just
Obi-Wan
iconic.
versus Anakin.
Exactly, where he's like, then my
Yeah.
friend is truly gone. You didn't kill Anakin, I did. It's like, oh my gosh, that is beautiful.
That has the 40 years of stuff coming for it. Like the Acolyte doesn't have that. It's just its own thing.
Yeah,
Well,
100%.
chat seems to agree with us that they think below Kenobi. So is that where we're gonna put?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
yeah.
We did it. Now
We
only
did it.
600 characters to go.
Yes.
We're doing that right now, right?
Let's go. This will
Three.
only take around 10 hours. Let's go.
No.
That's crazy.
Now we'll do this on a later time, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this has been
but there was a
blast.
question that people in the chat brought up, and I think it's a really cool question to end on. And it's, will you guys end by sharing your favorite upcoming Star Wars project? I'll
Ooh.
start. My
Go on.
favorite upcoming, or the one that I'm most looking forward to upcoming Star Wars project, would be Ahsoka season 2.
Interesting.
If you guys
Um,
want to take it away.
I guess I'll go first. My personal favorite one I'm most interested in is the Dawn of the Jedi. That one, because I love the Jedi, I love the Sith, and I love democracy. But the Jedi, especially, to explore their origins would really be interesting for me. Because, yeah, we have some things that explore it, but nothing set in stone, you could say. So it would be cool to see how James Mangold and George Lucas work on this. So that's the one I'm most excited for, just because I feel like with the right leaders working on it, I feel like this could definitely be one of the biggest Star Wars movies today.
I'm most excited for my next video. That's gonna be a good one. No,
I love the promotion.
I'd have to say
Yes,
Andor season 2, personally,
There you go.
especially with Krennic and
Yeah.
B2SO.
Ooh. Grand Moff Tarkin, can't forget him.
Grand
Almost-
Moff Tarkin. Yeah.
I'm most excited for the Blue Bounty Hunter's next video. You can see that at the Blue Bounty Hunter on YouTube.
We should
So-
live stream
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, I really don't know because yes, Ahsoka was my favorite show, so Ahsoka season 2 should be like that. But it's the constant debate of what's coming next because I feel like I should be the most excited about what's coming next, and that is Andor season 2. So I'd probably say Andor season 2 too, because yeah, the Dawn of the Jedi sounds great, but it's so far away. So I go to Andor season 2.
All right. So that's
That's completely
I'm definitely
fair.
excited for Andor season 2.
Oh, I'm not saying that I'm not excited. I am very excited to see how it goes. If we do not get Cyril eating cereal, I am gonna be so mad. We need to have cereal
We need
scenes.
that.
If they
Yes.
do not give us
Oh,
that, I will
yes.
be pissed.
If they do that, I'm boycotting Star Wars. I will do a 24-hour live stream of me just eating cereal.
Should. That could be your
Yeah,
face
seriously.
reveal.
Oh my gosh, yes,
face
that'll
reveal.
be my the
There
just
you
the
go.
Star
Drown
Wars
your
Nerd
face
YouTube
in
face reveal.
cereal for
Get it all
24 hours.
Yeah, you'll see it on just a Star Wars Nerd
Inexpensive
YouTube
video.
channel.
There you go.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, yes, 100,000 subscribers, 24-hour live stream of me eating cereal.
Eating cereal. Oh my gosh.
That is going to be one of the craziest face reveals ever.
Nah,
I'm
for
about
real.
to stuff my face
I'd
24
watch
hours
that.
full of cereal.
If you guys remind me in the future, I will totally do that.
I'll watch it.
Oh, it's already been saved on here. I ain't deleting
Oh
this
yeah,
video.
wait, shoot, yeah, people have seen it now. I gotta eat cereal for 24 hours. The
Nice.
guy who
Yeah,
loves
yeah.
Cheerios. Yeah.
You're gonna get so sick.
That's
You better have
awesome.
a garbage can next to you.
Yes, I'm gonna wait. I'll just eat like
Okay.
Lucky Charms. Lucky Charms are
It
Honey Nut
sounds
flavored.
like Mike needs to do that. A guy who
Oh.
loves Cheerios.
Yes,
No, I'm a guy who loves Star Wars. That's not mine. That's definitely not me.
it could be a live stream of you and me eating cereal for 24 hours together.
Oh yeah.
Rebranding
I
Mike
think
as
that
a
could
guy
happen.
who loves cereal.
Guy who loves cereal. I'd be so down for that.
Do y'all have any closing thoughts on this tier list before we dip out?
I actually do. Before we get off, do we want to bump Mandalorian up to S plus and give us those 5 spots in S
No.
plus?
Honestly, if you
No.
want to do that, I'd be
No,
down.
bro.
No, we had
That would be-
democracy. We had
Yeah.
democracy.
Hey, but like all democracy, it must
All right.
end with thunderous applause.
Exactly.
So I say,
All right. Well,
do it.
then I think that's all for the live stream. Thank you all for coming on for this over
Yeah.
3-hour live stream.
I will definitely be making a video about this in my channel to post.
Oh, that I cannot wait to hear all the backlash I'm going to get from you in your video.
Oh no, I'm probably gonna cut out the whole acolyte thing because I will get bashed so hard in the comments. It is a losing battle. I'm just gonna show like the highlights of all of this.
Let me just cut out the portion where I think you guys will hate me for it and give you all the stuff. I
Yeah,
think you'll
let me just keep the things you'll agree with me on, and then get rid of everything you won't. So I win.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on. This has been
Yeah,
really
thanks for having
fun.
us.
Yeah,
course.
thank you guys so much. Before we get off, happy birthday, Morgan. I did not realize we shared a birthday. That's
Thank
kind
you.
of
Happy
Yeah,
birthday,
yeah,
both
happy
of you
birthday.
guys. It's awesome.
What a birthday bash we had today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So
Thank you
when do we
guys so
think-
much.
Yeah. Oh, before we leave
Thank you
though,
guys
when do
so
you
much
think-
for watching. I'm gonna now end the live stream.
Wait, no,
Oh.
not yet. No, wait. Wait, when
No,
are we gonna
Ty,
do
shut up.
the part two? The part
you
two.
said that a little. Oh, I haven't ended it yet. Okay, we're good. Yeah, part
Okay,
2.
good.
I'll reach out to each of you guys, and we can try to figure out what date works the best for us.
Oh, perfect.
Because if you guys are open to it, I would still love to do the character tier list with you guys.
Oh, 100%. Can't miss out. on
As
those
long as it's not
600
3
characters.
hours, but yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
this was
we need
quite
Babu
long.
Frick in there.
Yeah, like some
Just
time
put
restraints on each of
Sid
us.
Just put Sid at S plus each, and then we'll be good.
No, put like
Okay,
hook up like
yeah.
a shocker to each of us, so every time we go for like more than a minute, we get zapped, and then we have to
Yeah.
put like Palpatine in S
Dude,
tier.
I'd be so down for that. I would vote. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so
good.
funny.
Yeah.
Thank you
I'd be
guys so
down.
much.
Thank you for
Yeah, of
having
course.
us.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll reach out to you guys for part 2 because that is definitely something I would love to do. I was not expecting us to take 3.5 hours to rank all the movies and shows. So
We care too much.
Yeah.
we care too much. I like that. We care too much.
We love too much about Star Wars. Yeah. Like, what can I say? I guess at the end of the
All
day,
right.
we're all just Star Wars nerds.
Yeah, seriously.
Star Wars nerd
Wow.
at youtube.com. Yeah.
Nice little swipe at your channel.
You know it.
words of wisdom there from
Yeah.
just a Star Wars nerd. man.
Just a Star Wars nerd on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube with over 3,000 subscribers. I make all things YouTube or Star Wars.
Yeah. Your guys, the links to all your descriptions are the links to all your channels are in the description. So if people want to find you guys. Obviously, Mike being here, everyone in the chat probably already follows him.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah. Who? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's some random guy with over 100,000. I don't know. Some
1,000
nobody.
followers. Yeah, I think we might have heard of him.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's been an honor to talk to all of you. Yeah, this has been
Yeah,
really
for real.
fun.
Thank you guys all so much. I am
Yeah.
now ending the stream.
All right. How do